Oh, we got a series for y'all today, BDS versus Astralis, and these teams are fighting to not be in the lower bracket. It's the last day of groups, y'all. It is heating up. I'm Jackie Jing, I'm with Jesse, I am with Jacob, and we are particularly excited about this face-off. We were chatting in the green room, Jesse, and these teams have seen each other before. We got a rematch, and I always love that.
Indeed, Jackie. It's not every day where you have a European and NA team coming in with history, but these two did play back at the Charlotte Major. They were in the same group together, and they traded maps. Well, it was a 1-1 split. It was two best of ones, 7-2 for BDS and 7-2 for Astralis. So we're going to decide the winner, the actual best team between these two.
Okay, well, let's start with BDS. Jacob, real talk. It's been the Shaiko show. I feel like I've said that repeatedly. We know that. I want to talk about LickyFac's performance and zone in on him a little bit more. How do you feel about him?
I mean, he got focused on a couple days ago because he plays a myriad of operators, so play basically anything under the sun if it means that his team is going to win. That's how he got noticed back before he got brought up on BDS, about being somebody who could frag on literally anything, put up the numbers, and still be a utilitarian. Whereas for Shaiko, you haven't needed to differentiate as much. I think we had that one graphic saying the only thing he played was Yana, then Yana got banned, and then he switched over to Ashe. It looked pretty good as far as their overall diversity and their variability is concerned for BDS, and that's been a big talking point for a long time, is that no matter what the situation requires, they're able to at least respond to it. They might not always win every single round they try, but they at the very least understand the situations that they're walking into and give it their best shot.
Okay, real talk. It's been a rocky start for them. So is BDS broken? Well, or are they bouncing back, Jacob? Be real with me.
It's been rocky by the standards of a team that we expect it to be at the very top. And I think that usually happens when a team wins an event. There's always been a trend about them not doing well, you know, as the events were to roll on. Like the period of 3 months following an event win so far haven't been great since TSM won the Invitational. Take a look at this. TSM wins SI, and then they're not present at the next major, and then the trend of the winner of an event not going to the next event persists for both Dark Zero and Koi. BDS won the major in Yongshiping, and they are here, but the record is not what they would like. That's already 2 losses down the tank, where a lot of people are beginning to wonder how much of a target do you have on your back. You paint one on yourself already, because teams who want to do better than you will be looking at precisely what you did in that major event to win, but BDS are still looking like they're having to overcome some of the things that they did to win that event in the first place.
I think the curse is very much a real thing, and it's something that BDS got to be scared of, but I will say in their defense, I think they are a bit better, just as a generalization, than the other teams that came before them, right? BDS have consistently, for years now, been towards the top of Europe and towards the top of the world, so I'm hoping maybe that can help them elevate themselves above this winner's curse, but you're right, it has been a bit of a slow start for them.
Jesse, you're being quite positive here, so we shouldn't jump ship yet?
Well, Jackie, if we look back to the Yongshiping Major, we can see that BDS have struggled before. They're not a team like W7M, for example, who like to come into every event and just dominate game after game after game. Of course, they would like that, but that's just not what happens. We go back to day 2 of the Yongshiping Major, and that was when BDS were at their lowest. You can see overall, they were minus 22 on KD that day, really poor cost, weren't getting any clutches on. And then you look at their worst day so far at the Six Invitational, that was yesterday, and it wasn't as bad. Yeah, BDS have had their low points. They've certainly struggled at times, but they've clawed back bigger deficits than this. They've leapt out of greater holes. And so I still have a lot of faith in BDS. A lot of people are counting them out, saying that, oh, maybe M&M's going to win the event, maybe Sonics are going to win the event. I still have BDS as my favorites. I still have faith in this team because we know that they're capable of coming back from big deficits like this.
Okay, we got a BDS believer over here, but I want to talk about Astralis now. Jacob, you know, I don't think we write off Astralis, to be honest. They are 1 and 2.
Off, really.
Yeah, but their losses have been hard-fought battles.
I mean, they've been close. They definitely have been, but I think there's usually 1 or 2 different like weird decisions that come up in Astralis matches that really give us an idea about whether it was a good game or a bad game. It feels like it's really like one specific thing that we can nail down, and I think the fact that we went to Clubhouse as our decider for last night is the one deciding factor, or the one defining factor for that whole series. I had the opportunity to talk to Call Out since then about exactly how that went. He said that definitely it was a gamble, but it very much was, the option was open, and it seemed like it was was the most statistically viable thing that we could have done. It just turned out that it wasn't something that we really had prepped for nearly as much as we wanted to. Back when they played it at the Charlotte Major Grand Finals, that was a case of it being a best of 5, and you can't escape every single map that you want to ban in a best of 5. But in a best of 3, you're going to give it a much different environment. As far as I'm concerned, though, still, everyone on Astralis feels like they're really continuing to push this team in the right direction. I'm not worried about Spiff's integration. I'm not nearly as concerned as I was about what they were doing in stage 3 and whether there would be a pretty massive fall off or difference from what they've done so far in this group stage. And honestly, as much as people might want to rag on them because they aren't the exact same firepower powerhouse that they were in stage 1 that got them to a major grand final, again, we're still looking at a team that absolutely can move mountains.
Okay, Jesse, I gotta talk about this. You told me a stat earlier in the green room and it made my heart sink.
Yeah, unfortunately, Shuttle is the lowest rated player right now at this event, and he has had a bit of a tough time, yes.
Whoa.
Shuttle's been struggling a little bit, and I think it has to do with the roster moves that they've had to make to integrate Spiff into this team. I think Shuttle has had his moments this event, but he ended stage 3 with a 71 pick rate on Sledge. This time he's played Sledge a singular time through the entirety of the tournament. He's still playing up some of their buck, but he has to go on some more of those kind of soft support or flank watch operators instead. Ace, Thatcher, Dokkaebi, Lion. It feels like he has struggled a little bit in adapting to his new role. I don't want to rag on him. I don't think he's been playing, awfully. However, he is stats-wise at the bottom. So I'm hoping to see a bit of a better game from him. He is enabling Spiff and the rest of the squad to pop off, which is nice, but I'm hoping today it could be his time to shine.
That was one of those big questions we had, was Spiff coming in. He was a Sledge player, and that was always a Shuttle hard stuck operator. He was never going to play anything else. In SCS Season 7, that's what he did play, and Spiff was moved on to the role that he's currently playing. But Spiff has continued that acceleration towards the player that he is right now, and to see Shuttle struggling that much, I actually didn't check that prior to jumping into this game, so I definitely am hopeful that he's able to have a bounce back.
Okay, our teams are almost ready to go, and I believe that map ban info is going to come up on your screen any second now. So let's see, what are they picking?
Not border.
Well,
please not border.
Here it is, here it is.
Thank
okay.
All right. We're getting some familiar territory. Kafe, the first pick for BDS. This is the map that they won back at the Charlotte Major, a 7-2 scoreline. It's also a map they're on a 5-game win streak on. All 5 of those wins in their streak coming from stage 3. It was a very important map for the Yongshipping Major win. They also found a win back at the Japan Invitational. So that is a great map pick coming in for BDS to start.
The thing about it is, once we get to Oregon, it is literally the exact inverse. If you factor in their wins at G8, they're only 6-8. If you take them out, it drops down to 3-8. They have not won this map in a pretty long time. So, I mean, since the Yongshipping Major, which is still 3 months away, not a map that they typically favor as heavily as other ones that they have in their pool. And Astralis love this bad boy where they can play it. 7 wins, 2 losses over the past year. So definitely preferable picks for both squads.
Yeah, and then Bank to finish us off. That's the other map that these two teams played back in Charlotte. That one was a 7-2 win for Astralis. So maybe some hope if we get to map 3.
Okay, really fast, your predictions. Jacob, go.
I like Astralis. I don't want to keep on doubting them, but I do think BDS has been able to fight back a little bit more. So 51-49 BDS.
Oh, okay. I love the percentage. Jesse?
I'm going BDS as well. I have faith in Shaiko to bounce back with the squad. LickyFac's going to bounce back as well. Very excited to see what they can do here.
Well, we shall see. The fabulous Fluke and Happy Hap take it away. BDS versus Astralis. Let's go!
Thank you very much, Jackie, Jesse, and Jacob, the Triple J threat, to bring us into this. The last game for these two teams inside groups. Hell of a war chant, Astralis. Is it enough to circumvent the French? That's up, I'm Fluke.
Yes, and there is quite some history between these two. Actually, if we look at these maps, both of them, or 2 of the 3, have been played already, actually. The first one is Kafe, when BDS is rated, the side of Bank, when Astralis. But that's a long time ago, almost 9 months.
And it's been a very long year, and as they pointed out with the graphics in the pre-game, sometimes things don't quite work out after success was found. Astralis had such a fantastic run at the tournament that these two teams hit heads.
Yep.
Then they've unfortunately had a tumultuous year that sort of culminated in a bit of a resurgence. And I'm not going to say entirely because of how well they played in Charlotte, but it is some of the best international play we've seen from a team that was so exciting at that major where they did such a good run. BDS, a more recent return to form, but here, however, they have not quite been able to find the same rhythm. They sit in 4th. They're confirmed at least to escape groups. Astralis sit in 3rd. Is this where they'll remain?
That's a big question. Now, if we're talking about seeding, first seed hasn't been locked in yet for this group. Second seed, not been locked in yet for this group. neither is 3rd or 4th.
So
what it's known is that either Astralis or BDS becomes the 4th seed, depending on who will lose this one. And yeah, then depending on the other result as well, all that kind of stuff, all the kind of funny stuff comes into play to find out who will end up where. The bans will start, and Floors is the first to be removed. It's an operator that BDS is knowingly, within their arsenal of weapons that they really like using. When the operator just came out, they even went as far as saying this is the strongest attacker currently in the game due to the versatility. Of course, not going to be allowed now. Ying to be banned, Mira as well. Nothing too out of the ordinary there so far. And it remains nothing out of the ordinary with a Valkyrie to close it out.
Yeah, we're sort of looking at, I guess, I'm not going to say it's a grudge match because it's been such a long time. There's obviously been roster changes since that time. But the fact that we're going back to 2 of those maps, the fact that we're sort of having a return towards a battlefield that's already sort of etched its mark in the history of these 2 teams, there's a little bit of a tingle about this game.
Yeah, of course, and then there's still, something to be gained here for both these teams as well that truly, ups the amount of odds and, well, not really grudge, but the will to win it, which is, of course, that upper bracket that is up for grabs, whoever will win this match. As we get started in the bottom floor, no basement on this map. It's one of the only few that does not have a basement. It is going to be the bakery. And there's usually a couple of approaches you could go from here. Or I have to say kitchen rather, but bakery is part of it. So either a attack from there you go, the bakery comes through, or we are seeing one from the freezer. That's usually the main directions that get taken by the teams. If it is a freezer take, you need to clear out a VIP, you need to clear out a bit of top floor control, etc., etc. Oh,
too
early there.
Couple steps too early. Almost put a bit of damage down there. They fire back, but it's sort of a statement. This game is going to start itself 5D, and it's probably going to end the same way. The top is rebuilt just a little. They're going to see if they can try and protect Bakery from the pressure across the board. They've got these Echo drones running out that outside intel from the side of the hatches. You can catch windows, catch motions, but BDS aren't handing anything as of yet. There's at least the pings on that player. But again, pops its way back in. Alems. Oh, caught out, and what a perfect use of intel to gathering.
Yeah, we've seen this many times, especially in the European League from Rogue, for example, and more teams are starting to use those yokai drones now in a way we could just drive them out. Breed A catches a shuttle as he rotates down the white stairs, not quite sure what the idea was there, but get caught off. So the trade is, or the entry is instantly being traded out right here by BDS. They've lost Dokkaebi though. It is quite some utility that you now have to do without. No more phone calls, no more hacking of the cameras to come through. That will make sure you lack a little bit in the intel game. Iconic, talking about intel, knows exactly when the drone comes around the corner. It's not going to be able to pick it up. Has to rotate out quickly because he knows he's being chased. But decided to back in. Liquefac on the Jackal will be able to pick up that kill. Now the member or man advantage is here for BDS.
Well, can they try and build behind it? You've still got to do the work on the site itself. There's a hefty structure around Kitchen, around the sort of construction of the site. Ranchero is going to see if he can smash his way through, shepherd the players, force them into uncomfortable situations. Still, with the pocket hard breach, they're able to get themselves open with the Habana and angle towards a plant on the back end, but you've got to deal with the shield, and as we see, the Echo drone is just causing problems. They're getting themselves set up to try and stop the plant on that end. Spiff, in the meantime, he's getting a bit of protection from the swing. It's a big restructuring here. You can sort of tell that they're expecting the fight elsewhere. Efac's able to win it out. He's not expecting the next, though. But Shaiko, in the meantime, takes J9O out on the back end, leaving just Forest alone. Now, with 30 seconds, an Echo can cause problems, but it's a 4 versus 1. BDS, if this is going away from them at this point, it's entirely their mistake. They have the reveal, the location of the player, the smoke to cover it. They're going to see if they can stick it. The grenade forces the play. They're going to get on the drone. They're not quite able to stop the plant as of yet. A split second too late, and, well, it was very well played there from BDS. They drew the attention, drew the focus, and have got him cornered, and a BDS opener.
good luck out there in the end. And also was a beautiful entry kill from Astralis, we have to say, using the yokai drone for the information. The communication comes in as well, and the instant shot from above. In the meantime, we have Bride watching the white stairs for 2 minutes straight, and then the use of the Jackal as well, of Likafak to isolate some of these players, kill them as well. BDS able to regain that numbers advantage early on in the round. They take the first, and we're headed one flight of stairs up towards the reading room and dining room. Now, in terms of hold, verticality from above is often important here. There is a big area of the map that leans directly into the site in terms of sight lines. And that's why often the attack would like to go for it. That's what Renshiro is going to be doing on the sledge. That's why Jackal is going to be bringing a secondary shotgun, most likely, just so they have the opportunity to open up as much as possible. That will dislocate the players that are being, situated inside the site towards outside the site, which makes it easier to take the area, go for that plant, and play the post plant right afterwards. Astralis, of course, will try and stop that. Now, Mirror's an operator that was often used to that, but that's banned. So they're going to have to try and find a different way, and most likely the Izami will be key in that.
Will Astralis try and lean into the fire a little bit earlier? They went with the adaptation on the defense, set themselves up with the stretch on the side, but it's always remembering this is, BDS's sort of play space. This is where they wanted to bring the heat and the aggression, and attacking it is something that they can do quite well. Kafe can lend itself well to creative attacks and driven ideas, and we've often talked about BDS's ability. It's just that they sometimes struggle to prove it.
You see a Skiba barrier there, that is going to be hurting J9O's opportunity for survival just a little bit. Gets one tossed up. That angle, he's not going to be too happy with that one, because that's going to be basically forcing him to fall back a little bit, because that's not going to be safe.
Forest takes huge chunks of damage underneath, can't quite slip away. Efak, it's a gun that we sort of, said at the beginning of this, he was at least firing even, whilst the rest of the team was a little bit under. Since then, they've stepped up, and he's just sort of stepped up alongside and become more and more dangerous as that superstar player that was the big step in for their run at Jönköping. Astralis, once again, off to a little bit of a back foot, but they have a little bit more and similar amount of time to work with here. The pressure's going to start coming its way across the top, and BDS still need to clear the top. They still need to try and force the structure of the map.
But getting in a good position to do so. They know exactly one person that just rotated out, so the flashbangs will be forcing them to relocate. Spiff coming up these white stairs. He might be shot in the back. Oh, again. Player on BDS just letting himself to be known earlier a bit too much. He's going to get swung on by the Jaeger here. If he's not too careful, needs to fall back. Bride takes a gunfight on the other side. It is going to be Likafak that saves his life.
And that's suddenly a strike all across the board. J9O gets one back. Tempted to swing into the next. There's two over the shoulder. Can't quite get the connection lost between pings. BDS. I know.
Okay, so what he said is, we're doing very well, we're doing super well, let's go. That's basically what they went at.
Said the communication's very good.
Yeah.
And Astralis, no, Astralis have taken the time out.
It's very...
Let's listen in.
I'm gonna take leadership to the Lucy, bro. I want to be able to be a bit more mobile right now.
Yeah, Dave Pro does mid side 2 Get your fuck out of yeah, we just fight these boys. No more fucking layers. Fight these guys. Yeah. Wait, just push them hard. They can do something.
I'm gonna drop the. I'm allowed to drop the BP. I can take all his impact, so I kick that guy off the windows here. All right. Or, yo, listen, like your back, he's looking for a White Walker, bro. If I'm dropping Lucy, he's 100% looking for a White Walker. Shuttle, get those same holes.
I'm getting on right now. I'm gonna put the Jack. Do you want the pistol shield? Or do you want to put those out?
All right. Well, sounds like they're sort of getting their heads back on and saying, let's fight these boys. Let's get into this. There's a little bit of just going, we can take this fight. They have to make sure that early on in this series, they know that they can step up with these engagements because they can.
They for sure can. We've seen what they could do in Charlotte and throughout the year. But at the same time, they're up against the reigning major champions who, you know, they might not be as strong as they were when they won the major, but BDS has always been a team that has been able to perform. It's always a scary team to play against, especially when those first 2 rounds start off like they just did. And when I was listening to the timer, it wasn't really like a motivational speech to come through. It was more of a, okay, let's do this, let's pick this instead, like instead of this operator, and it's drop the bulletproof camera, take impact so we can challenge them on the windows, all that kind of stuff. So they're just looking about strategical differences rather than that motivation. So that leads you to believe that indeed something is just not working. They figured it out. That's what they're fixing right now.
Okay, Astralis, let's see you fight back. BDS, they've been steady on their approach. As I said, you know, there's always that moment where you have to focus onto what the map is put forward, and, well, there's a bit of focus for us. First off, EFAC, once again, getting that opening engagement all the way from deep, just waited court. And that is that coordination, that communication from BDS. This is such a different BDS from some of the other BDS plays that we've seen. It's one that knows the game ahead of them. The reason that they're being this short and sharp is because of the respect that they've paid Astralis in the preparation of this. They're reading them super, super well. And it's coming out right now, and you can see Astralis, they're still trying to piece this together on a map that they're not entirely comfortable against BDS on.
Just these early picks happening this early on. Very, very hurtful to Astralis. Something they kind of need to prevent from happening. It's the second time, you know, it's like it happened in a minute, no one really dared to reply for it. And BDS now looking to take control of the entire piano. Leakafak ready to go up on the rappel next to him. J9O just gets taken down before he finishes the keep a barrier. And Leakafak, he was aware of the fact someone was coming from garage, but you know, as the kill already came through, there's no real point stucking with that anymore.
Yeah, at that point, you know, when the kill's confirmed, as you said, they've got the motion, they're hitting the keeper barricade, but you know then if you run out, they'll know there's only 2 people on site. It's a long rotate, there's the run out. Iconic does go for it, but Lems pushes at the same time. It's just Shuttle. He's got to win the engagement, cannot. Iconic has a long set of stairs to scream up, sprays down towards the Lems, cannot quite get the full finish. And now as they push themselves round to the opposite end, they're going to start keeping the corner locked in. Iconic hasn't handed over the territory. You may as well see if he can try and finish the first engagement. Isn't offered the full taste, so pulls and peels himself back round. The bottom of the stairs was watched a little. They've got some support now, and there's Brede with that support.
I want to see this. Like you won't see it at home, but like as soon as the punch hole created itself, instantly flicked on it, shot 1 or 2 bullets through, got the headshot. And that's that snappiness we know from BDS. And I mean, for a while, and everybody knows this, it was, you know, Shaiko and like, you know, the rest of the team that was supporting him. But now everybody is finding themselves in a spot where they can gun, where they are comfortable on their guns. And everybody is, you know, pulling their own weight.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
And you see it here, it doesn't matter who. Shaiko, 4 kills, Leakafak on 5. Brede on 3. Renshiro, he hasn't died. He hasn't gotten a kill yet. It's like, you know, what's he doing? He's just, you know, back there, he was coming in to support a Lems. So Lems is taking fire. He opens up. He's holding the angle. Player falls back. There's nothing he can do about it. He's doing his job. He's opening up the floor. Just doesn't get any gunfights handed to him.
Renshiro is doing a pacifist run, but he's doing it super well.
Like speed run, pacifist.
I wonder what the longest anyone has gone in a comp game at Tier 1 with neither dying nor killing, nor getting assist as well has been. That's such a deep cut stat.
I don't even know if he's fired his gun yet. Maybe at a camera, but it's like, I don't think we have the...
Is this the longest pacifist run we've ever had inside?
It might be. I mean, I don't think we have accurate ways to track it.
No. That's maybe the most deep cut throwaway stat I've ever pulled for. But hey, is something unusual, and unusual right now is 3 rounds, 3 kills Astralis have been able to get. They have not been able to bite into this. 2 of them have been on Lems.
Yeah, Lems has received twice, and he almost died for a 3rd time there, but you know, still doing what he needs to do. So is BDS. I mean, just so far outclassing Astralis every single way. Lems down on that flank watch. Top floor is being taken slowly but steadily. The sledgehammer is going through. So does a Gemini replicator. Hey, there is a player in the cigar closet. I'm going to be dealing with that. Is that going to be a grenade that flies around the corner? Because if you look on your right-hand side of the screen, there's nothing that could stop them. Shrapnel could definitely go through and kill Iconic here if they manage to bounce it off well enough. Sure, now holding out the rotation as well. There it comes. Grenades are being explored as an option. So be careful here before one just rolls through. Drops down. That's exactly that his time was about to be numbered there.
Longest I think we've had all Astralis' players alive for. They're not driving into the engagements as quickly as they were before. There's a lot of soft that needs to be cleared above, but you're looking at a couple of C4s, a bit of danger. There's obviously Razor Blooms out and about, lurking somewhere to cause some problems, push some momentum, and Astralis, they're happy to sort of flitter around. Shaiko takes a lot of damage from one of those Razor Blooms, I believe, and at least doesn't die for his sake, but it is going to make any future engagements a lot scrappier, especially when you look at the site. If you're fighting sort of bottom to top, if there's Goyo canisters, it becomes a lot more dangerous to only have a sort of fraction of your health left.
Of course, but at the same time, I don't think Shaiko really minds, because he usually just goes for these little, you know, swing instant pre-fires and just snaps on the head, so he doesn't need any health. One is just enough for him as well. Calls are coming through, and that means that a push or at least some ground needs to be gained right here by BDS. Shuttle is finding himself in a bit of a, well, precarious situation as he's being pushed from above, from the side, and gets taken down by Shaiko. As I said, he will just go for those snaps. He doesn't really care.
Jane, I know, he's creeping his way up the back stairs. He's in a position that BDS might not have accounted for. Spiff is still holding on, but it's EFAC to find Forest as Shaiko does get dropped in the meantime. Look at the time, though. About 25 seconds left. Alem's able to cement one more. Iconic with the C4. Does he get it popped off in time? Not quite fully. There's Brede around the side of the chassis. Spiff, all that's left on the slow creep in a 1 versus 4. He's going to see if he can try and maybe piece someone out of the reveal of this down the corridor. There's the fight. There's at least a second for the round. The first time they've been able to do some damage to more than one person, but the rotates come towards the vertical. They have control above. They're making things dramatic. Renshiro still on a pacifist run, but he's at least doing some damage to the soft and sort of saying, try it. Spiff, the new pickup. The recent addition to the roster, plagued by a rough and rocky year since the start, cannot quite get the huge clutch.
And Renshiro continues to be 0-0-0. 4 rounds in. But, you know, he did his thing there. He starts smacking up above him. So, again, the pressure is being sent up by BDS. Just trying to listen there, but that was a bit too much French.
The thing about French,
I mean, we live there.
We do.
For a long time, so we know some of the words.
They just speak very fast.
But when they start speaking fast, it's, as Medic says, you don't hear it, but...
Medics, you mean Le Pigeon?
Yeah. That's Medic's favorite French word, pigeon. It's notoriously
And animal.
French.
Okay. Oh no, Renshiro got an assist.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh! Why?
It must have been on Spiff. He did some damage to Spiff, because that only popped in there at the end. I mean, you know, it's still technically a pacifist run. He didn't kill Spiff.
He just tickled him a little bit. That's what he did.
Now this isn't going to happen. But imagine if he did get through the whole game without killing or dying.
That would be, I would say, a first.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Especially in SI, that never happened before.
All right, Brede with the Monty, the air jabs, a little bit of a different tack and take here. You've got the cover of the smoke canisters. The hard breach is going to come from the pockets. You got 4 of them. You can give yourself the angles and ideas, and you're pushing a flat floor. What you're doing is this, the pace. They're going to push away from the game that Astralis has on the rest of the building. The Keeper barricade's pretty good because it isolates the Monty and it buys Spiff a second to maybe rotate back. He's got himself in a slightly more favorable position and gets a kill on the way out the door. Huge play. Shaiko's got it back. They have a bit of control in small bake on the opposite side to make sure no one else rolls in to support them. The risk might be the hold above. There's also a couple of the Goyo canisters. They're watching and waiting. Iconic, he's not revealing himself to the angle because he knows likelihood is it's going to get pre-fired if he does. So they'll pop the fire. They'll pop the they'll pop the fire, and then they'll sort of wait for that tick out. They've got control of bakery, smash and grab style. Now they have time, as the French like to do, enjoy the pastries, have a cup of coffee, and then formulate step 2.
Yeah, they just wanted to take that as quickly as possible, no matter the cost. And they've managed to do that, and now up to the next point of attack. J9 now might have seen that someone has came in there. The default camp just got shot. Didn't really respond to that. He's not aware of where the actual player is. Now he is. Likafak taken down. Astralis will be finding themselves with man advantage right here with BDS inside. And he's going to try and find himself a nice little spot to go for a bit of a plant, I believe.
Yeah, he's probably going to tuck by the bomb chassis. There's pre-fires going through, but Iconic has the glasses to stop it with the turtle from above, give enough protection, especially with the cross angle of red that J9 has. Without the man advantage, BDS are in a very tricky situation. So instead, they go a bit closer. It's held from above. Can you make the distance here? Iconic, he's going to try and find the person. They just get it out. J9 has that cover and support. Great bit of movement there from Astralis. And now, with that kid in the middle of the kitchen, it's going to be so hard for the two remaining players. Renshiro, he's got to start getting some kills on the board. Shaiko, well, he's got a lot, but cannot get any more this round. And it's a 3 versus 1, a flicker and a tiny bit of health in the bar. Renshiro.
Save your kitty. Don't do it. No. He's died now. And Astralis, they will find their first round. They try to go quick on BDS's side. They almost managed to get away with it and get that plan down, and it would have been a different round. But Spiff, he threw some spanners in the work there by going aggressive on that Monty. Finding that one kill, crucial. You lose a lot of utility, of course, with the Capitao gone. You lose an extra gun that could have been used to get rid of players from staircases or up above. Astralis, they'll be creating a bit of a buffer for themselves, you know, having that one round. That means they can afford to lose a round when they're going over to the attack later, but still not looking too good for them. They need to get this next round as well.
All right, Astralis, it was the start of something. To get a second one, and then, well, you've still got to try and tack it. It's a lot of momentum. Reminder, they've used their timeout, they've used their conversation, so if things start to go off, well, they can only really play the game ahead of them. And, yeah, it's BDS's map, it's the start of a long series, but, you know, getting your heads in the game when things start to slip away, it's not always easy. You sort of look at the previous showdowns that they've had. The first map for BDS has often been quite tight, and then it's a bit of a back and forth, and you know, it's usually on the side of Astralis, it's quite a strong showing in the first map. It was a 7-3, a 7-3, a 7-4, and then it turns into a bit of a series here, so it would be the first time that Astralis have not got on to the winning start in the sort of first foot.
Yeah, for sure. BDS. The thing is, in the first 3 rounds, I managed to get entries quite quickly within the first minute. Someone on the other team, or rather someone on Astralis, already had died, even if the trade came through on the side of BDS. Last 2 rounds, it was a bit slower. Especially, of course, round 5, where it was Astralis that actually managed to get the entry frag. That means that they're starting to grow back into that game, as you just mentioned. They are starting to match the pace a little bit more, but they need more than just a little bit. Phone calls come through. Grenade! Oh. Just bounces the right way, and that's going to be an injure.
I mean,
they're going to be dropping down.
Avoiding that. The second one doesn't get the pickup, and they do get themselves to some safety. And look at that, the pressure's come underneath on pillars as well. Efax gets in a fight, somehow finds one. Oh, and that is a heck of a take there by Iconic, against Iconic even, just sort of fired in the right way, and if I'm going to say the grenade was hard to miss, so was that. Here it is, Shuttle steps back in and suffers the same fate. The DMR tearing that corner, and at this point avoided Astralis.
There's something about a DMR on land, it's just a completely different beast. It's going to be another one going through from League. In fact, that's a triple kill from him, all from the same room. He knows there's a 4 for Renshiro, takes him down. Over the shoulder cover coming through.
All right.
Only Spiff left now. 1v4. Took down League. Can he take down the rest?
I mean, it would have to be an ace clutch here for Spiff if he was to try and pull this round back. And BDS have a lot of time, and they're making full use of it with the vertical control. There's a pre-play C4, Spiff's put down to buy himself a second if he goes. He's playing a bit of an aggressive situation, but Shaiko has the angle.
Something.
Milosh,
Milosh,
please translate. This is what we would do, I guess, on email.
Yeah, that is what we do. Especially when, you know, we're all going out to dinner together and then someone's, you know, comes to us and...
It works in Montreal as well.
Yeah, it works in Montreal as well. And we're all just looking at Miloš with puppy eyes like, please turn.
Miloš?
We don't see the language.
Kitchen's where we're going to start ourselves off here, and, you know, there's no denying it. The pressure is on Astralis. So you're not on your map, sure, but you don't want to lose their map this handily. They know that they want to be engaged. They want to be in a fight because you need to sort of step in. You need to step up against it. You're against people like EFAC. You're against people like Shaiko. They are great gunners. Some of the world's best on their day. Maybe the world's best on that day. And they're having a day. They're having a very good day. And we're still just seeing little moments of it from Astralis, but there seems to be that lack of coordination, a connection with what BDS is doing.
Now, just checked. BDS can no longer get the first seed. Of course, due to Oxygen and Lost One playing it against each other. So, second or third seed is what they're aiming for. And all they need to do for that is just a win. That's literally it. So, well, I mean, they're on their way for their first map out of this series. Just need to keep it up a little bit. But they're on the defense now, and that means it's a completely different game they're playing because I can't believe I haven't said it yet this tournament, but there's two sides to Game of Siege.
What?
Yeah, attack and defense.
Okay.
And BDS is now going over towards the defense, which is, historically speaking, more favored in any given way.
Let's see if they can sort of cut themselves in. Spiff, he's getting the work done. The drone on the back end, checking dining room. You know the power position of this shield, and Bride's on the wrong end of it for Spiff to be able to do some damage. There is some protections there as well from the ADS, so they're not quite going to go for the single take. Alems is actually going to step in, and will they see Alems? Thankfully, yes, because if he was able to get into coat check unchecked, that could have been pretty deadly. Pre-fires the window, obviously saw the drone himself, so he knows pressure's coming from that end, and Forrest is actually going to take damage in J90 getting rid of Shaiko. The Warden's gone. Bakery is under pressure. They're going to guess which side to trick, and no, they're not. Renshiro couldn't quite get the right maths and instead didn't want to pay the price.
Got a little bit of a crouch peek there. Spiff takes down Alems as well. Suddenly it's all starting to fall apart a little bit here for BDS. Bride was the next one on the chopping block, but he manages to survive, at least for now. Only one person left on the side, and Spiff, he could be huge here, but Renshiro takes down Forrest first. It is going to be Iconic that takes down League of Facts. Spiff finds another, only up to Bride now, but he's not on the side. He's back in VIP. He needs to find himself a way back in now as the plant is going down. It seems like Astralis might have themselves around on the board as Bride comes in, takes down Spiff. 45 seconds, though, for a retake.
He's concerned about the rotate being watched from above. He's hitting barbed wire, and he's so concerned he's going to smoke it off and move elsewhere. But it's being watched on the opposite end. The kit is so far away. The players, they're not overextending as well. You have to give credit to Astralis' approach here, because this is kind of what you wanted to see from them. They know what they're capable of, and we know it too. And here it was demonstrated. It was a very good, even-handed strike from multiple different sides. And it left BDS sort of wondering just which hole needed to be filled as the boat sunk. Out of time, but a great take nonetheless, as he's still going to try and fight his way back into his own site, but Astralis demonstrate what they can do on their first attack.
Managed to break through on Bakery. Well done there, and as you mentioned, they showed what they can do. They opened up that wall quickly. BDS, they fell. Nothing really they could have done at that point. And if your last man standing is not on the site itself, the clutch is becoming very difficult when the diffuser is going down. We're headed up one floor. Headed towards the reading room and fireplace.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
So, just like Astralis, after losing out on that first site, heading up, trying your luck elsewhere. And of course, BDS, they have a pretty big margin in rounds already won. They have to, well, basically do half of that over the next half. Can slow down a little bit, but the bigger the advantage is, the bigger the blowout this game is, you know, the better that will be for your mentality and the more hurting it will be for your opponents.
5 seconds to go.
In terms of the attack here, Astralis, they had one idea, and they've entirely swapped it out for a plan B, whether it's a different site they expected or not. You know, it's quick adaptation, a thinker. It has obviously dropped off a lot based on the changes that she's gone through. But to be honest, she couldn't have been there more when she was in that position. There are some moments where the downs come through, where the pressure's happened in this game alone. The ability might get some usage, but otherwise it's the connection of the gun and the drive behind it. You can offer yourself some pace in otherwise not quite pacey situations. Will they focus across the top first of all, see if they can try and force it out? Or, to be honest, with the previous take, it was all over the map, and it seems like they're going for something a little bit more direct here as well.
Force holding J90, just putting up some of these air jabs on the flank watch. Grenades get tossed in, might take care of some utility, but no player of BDS is themselves caught off by it. A minute has passed, and Chaco gets the first kill. Force taken out, I'm not quite sure from where. Lems takes a bit of damage. It's just BDS holding on tight right now. They're trying to make sure that Astralis doesn't really have anything to work with for now. A lot of them are just repelled up on windows or on the roof.
Yeah, Astralis, they've lost the first body here. They've lost Forest, the Nook, and the ability to dive themselves right up close on this map is pretty powerful. They've dropped in on red, though, and they've been able to filter their way down. They're right knocking on the door of the hefty train machinery room. They're looking towards the carriage and the Zulu corridor, but otherwise still just sort of held a bit at bay. BDS hasn't had to move their shape yet. From what they set up at the very beginning to where they're at now, apart from that opening interaction, they've not really been stretched. They've not been pushed. Their pressure is the same. So is it going to be a strategy that holds on to this? More of a direct line onto this back end of the site. Are Astralis playing a little bit of a blinder here, or are they blind to the traps that are about to befall them?
It'll be that big question we'll see answered in just a couple of seconds at least. A lot of pressure is being pushed up now. Shaco gets another kill onto J90. As the wall gets opened up, I wonder if the player on the actual white stairs is fully aware of that. Lems.
Yeah, they left.
Up. Yeah, they left. Sees the player now, but gets taken down instead. A little bit of damage done. Icona goes for the swing in, but needs to be careful to not instantly be replied upon by Renshiro going in with the quick peek. Only Spiff right now, 1v4. Again, he is in this clutching position, needing to lock it out, because otherwise, BDS are going to find themselves up on that point.
A second of silence, but look at the motion that's come through. They're still above. They're watching and waiting, and you know, the back line is the danger here. Are they on the stairs? Are they on the corridor? You've got to still try and break your way through. They're on pillar, and there's a cool reaction that Spiff goes towards there, but then they pull away. Tucked on the corner. They make their own punch hole, but he doesn't quite get the timing and the sight on it, pre-firing the pistol and the angles as he slips his way back round. But it's Shaiko with a secondary.
I like how, in like the last two shots he fired, he finally figured out it was a punch hole there.
Yeah.
It's like he just didn't see it because it was in his peripheral rather than in his center or sight. It's going to French viewers an opportunity to.
I think I heard the word attack.
Oh, could be. I mean,
They
might be talking about how their attack is currently working. What to do against their attack.
I don't know if I did hear that word. I might have just heard syllables that sound like the word attack.
I've no clue.
I don't speak French.
Neither do I. Just a couple words.
All right, let's see if they can lock this out, or if Astralis have to make a pretty risky comeback. It's not going to be easy, obviously, with how the momentum of the game has been. There's been a couple of rounds that have gone away from them, but otherwise, it's sort of been the BDS show. They made sure that, yeah, this is their map. It's not an argument. It's more of a statement at this point, and it's looking more and more likely that Astralis are just going to have to do the same thing on the second map.
That's what they hope to achieve, at least. But BDS is looking like they're all on point right now. It's not per se that, you know, strategy is just working out like to perfection. It's more of the fact that every single gunfight just seems to be going away, and it's just the chaos that Kafe brings that really leans in well to BDS's gameplay. Either way, a lot of information either bypassing or gathering on the side of Astralis. We have the Gemini Replicator, we have the Jackal to gain information, we have Nurk to bypass whatever there is on the enemy team. Maybe that way they're hoping to find some success. It's a comeback from 6-2. We've seen that happen before. It is possible. And it's worth fighting for because it is a, point system we're talking about. Overtime doesn't really matter here as long as you win the map.
Reloading. Cover me.
Astralis having to play the rest of this game close to perfect after the rocky road we had to hear, and the first fight goes away from them. EFAC opening up a round as he's done so many throughout this game with a wide swing and a good take. Forest, the Nook, the first off the board, 2 rounds in a row. The Astralis have to reconvene, restructure, and reevaluate the approach here, and Shiro does get caught next. J90 has been consistent in getting those fights back. He's been great at positioning, a couple of deep dives, and one of those names he might be able to push behind. Spiff is under a bit of pressure next, and they've been pretty good at also dealing with it. If they can try and formulate the fight, there's some of it coming down to reading door.
Spiff up above is trying to sneak through. He might find himself with a player of BDS in his hands soon. Drop downs are coming, he just has heard that. Not aware of the fact that the alibi's out there, just check the corner, and as soon as he goes off, Shaiko swings it, gets the kill. Alems follows up as well before Shuttle manages to take one down. A Claymore will take down Alems, and that brings it to a 2-on-2.
Huge bit of Claymore there, and Shuttle getting his first kill of the game. Can he make it a couple more to keep Astralis in this? J90 is still there, holding, sitting, waiting, not too far away from the site, but with 50 seconds, they have time. They can utilize this, get the drones out, get the intel, try and formulate an idea, maybe a pinch on a player if it's not too risky, maybe a site plant if it's even less, but the spot on the Maestro and the angles above, they're able to put it from 2 different layers. Great coordination. There's the lockout. And Astralis keep themselves fighting one more round.
Alems going for the jump out there after he managed to get the kill. He was aware of the fact that someone was still repelled, but he just went up on the roof. And instead he doesn't get a kill, and he jumps into the Claymore, hands the advantage back slightly. But still, nothing really to worry about for BDS here. It's only, it's 3 rounds now for Astralis, but there's still 3 more to go. They're basically halfway to the point of bringing it to OT. And we're headed towards the top 4 now.
To locate and defuse bombs.
Have we actually seen the top 4 yet? I don't think we have.
Nope.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is the first time we've seen it, right?
Very second round, I think.
No, that was also a reading room.
That was second?
Yeah, it's the first
bomb.
They used the top floor
they picked it and then they picked off it.
They used the top floor extension to hold the reading room.
Yeah,
They didn't actually play it. It's not often you see the top floor hold here coming down in round 10 for the first time.
No, but it sort of says a lot about Bar.
Yeah.
It's almost like become CCTV of Clubhouse. It's not that it's not impossible to hold. There's still plays and strategies, but it's trickier because what you can do is sort of limited. There's things that are expected to fall. You're playing against a couple of direct hatches. You have the skylight, which you can't really alter outside of an Azami, which Alems might be able to do some restructuring, and it's not the easiest to hold from underneath as well. You've got awkward ground to cover. There's a lot of places that if you're going for the rotates to catch players, it can be watched by a single gun of Astralis, so the attackers. It's not easy. So, how do you build around it? Well, chances are not too many jump outs and run outs, which used to be how it would function, unless they come much later on in the round. Potentially a cost. There's claymores, there's preparation for that.
So far in the tournament, Bar Cocktail has had a 62% defensive win rate, so statistically speaking, there should have been a reason that we had seen it before already.
It depends.
It is...
the less you see something, the more sure people are of it.
It's very true, but it did get played like it's the second most played site.
Wow.
Either way, E on D goes off, usually an indication of the next push to come through, or at least some ground to be taken, and it happens in the bottom floor. It's Forrest to be entering himself towards VIP. He's going to be heading up towards the white stairs. A drone goes right ahead of him, so they should be aware of the fact that a player is out there. Spiff as well, holding for the rotation that might go upwards, but I believe Likafak has got himself towards the washing machines, and is going to get himself into the reading room to escape his certain death.
Oh, there's a little bit of motion. Forrest, look left, somebody's creeping around. Alems, he's just able to get the first out as Forrest tries to find the next, but it's Shaiko to find J90 and EFAC to find the head of Forrest. All down to Spiff and Shuttle, and a 5 versus 2 Shuttle. The slow creep down white The slow reveal of the Azami is one that he can win. Almost finds the next as well. The quick swap. Lumber's going to get replaced. The Selma gets caught out by an ADS by the sounds of it. Won't pop the keeper barricade as Spiff comes round to offer some support. Doesn't have the grenade to give anything more, but they might try and get a catch on a player. EFAC was tempted by the angle, but was not offered it.
And they also remembered that if they would have gone for a jump out, that could have been potentially a 3v2 at that point, and then suddenly it's very doable for the defense to attack to get back into it. So just save your numbers. Don't take any big risks right now. Use those little angles you've made with those keeper barriers to your advantage. And as Astralis is trying to do the same by opening up some of these walls, the smoke canisters are starting to come through. Grenades and C4s are being tossed out by the defense as well. Oh, only a matter of time here before the first one falls, and that's going to be Shuttle only up to Spiff now for 1v4 clutch if he wants to live, but BDS take map number 1 in convincing fashion, 7-3.
Yeah, it was a very solid performance there from BDS. They sort of set the pace quite early on and never really let Astralis quite catch into it. And, you know, as I said, it's not always that you see somebody say this is our map and they prove it, but they have here. Shaiko and EFAC, 26 between the pair of them. If they can keep this gun game up and Astralis is slow to warm into it once again, this could be a quick series. We'll go to a quick break before we're back with map 2.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Hello and welcome back here to BDS versus Astralis. BDS, well, to say Kafe was their map pick, you would be right on 2 levels. Factual and, well, factual. They absolutely dominated it. They were running the boards and Astralis just could not get their teeth into the showdown. A 7-3 end. And now it's down to Astralis to try and bounce back on theirs and make the same kind of statement on Oregon.
Yeah, and that's going to be the quite difficult one if we're just looking at the match summary here.
Look at that. Look at that cost on BDS.
Yeah, that cost is looking very high. And if you look at the other side, the one player that's positive, actually one of the lowest costs as well.
Yeah.
On the side of Astralis. So there is some work to be done there. And sure, they know it. You know, they don't need us to tell them. They know it themselves. They are professionals. Oh, no. And they've surely had a talk about it.
That's it. You know, they've got to bring themselves back in. They have to reevaluate and reapproach and reset. You've got to make sure that you can sort of remind yourself what you're capable of, why you're here, and what you're going to do. And mindset is always that topic.
Mindset is it's good on that side, I think.
I mean, so the first map we had the war chant from Astralis, led by Iconic. Very cool. And if that's the French equivalent, I don't know what that was. I don't know what BDS was saying. I don't speak the language.
Now, do you like some fun stats?
Oh, always.
BDS has played Oregon a total of 12 times.
Yes.
You can guess how many times they've won it.
Some of them.
Yeah, you're correct. Some of them. 3. Once Wolves, once Fury, one Chief. So 2 times against APAC, once against a fellow European team.
Yep.
Astralis have played Oregon a total of 9 times. They've won a total of 7 times. M&M, Space Station, Dark Zero, Oxygen, Exet, Mirage, and Dark Zero again. So, statistically, Astralis should be able to take this.
Statistically, yeah.
However, we also know BDS, well, they might not be having the best of records right now. They know how to play this map.
Yeah, well, this is the thing about BDS, is once upon a time they were a good Oregon team.
Yes.
Then Oregon changed, and they didn't know what Oregon was. And they haven't quite been able to find themselves back in. It's almost this thing, you'll see it, where BDS fans are like, why do they keep going back to Oregon? Because they can't get it nailed down. And it's not that they're a horrible Oregon team. It's more that they're an average Oregon team, and a lot of other teams are good Oregon teams, because Oregon gets played a lot. And it sort of becomes that argument of which teams have a wider map pool and which teams have a shorter map pool, but they're stronger on that shorter thing. This is when it gets tested. BDS are definitely a wider map pool team, I think. They like it to enjoy a few different maps. However, jack of all trades.
They're the average all-map enjoyer.
Yeah, they're the average Oregon enjoyer.
Yeah. Whereas Astralis might be the more distinguished Oregon player. I don't know. We'll see how it works out, because, I mean, the 7-3 is definitely a big, big blow to receive on your final match of groups. And, of course, both these teams already managed to qualify for playoffs, but what we're playing for is the extra life.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned before, we're all gamers. We know that's going to be good to have that extra life, because that means that you might, mess up the Goomba still once. And you can still continue going.
They got it.
They got it now?
They get it now?
There you go. Yeah, and Lem's just staying around to check, just to be sure.
They've rehearsed this whole strategy. That was part of it. All right, well, talking of part of it, look at this, Iconic. Already in. He saw that the fact that the bottom of tower was softed, and that gives him the confidence to know he's not going to get swung. He's not going to get some immediate pressure from the opposite end. There's a little bit of width for them to get it popped open, and they're more and ready and raring to go. They've got the Thatcher. The hatch won't be the biggest problem in the world. They'll get this rolled on. They'll get this popped off. The second will stop it coming back together, and that will get broken open. Forces a big bit of utility and space, having to clear out a little bit further. They need to then put the pressure onto the Shaiko wall, which isn't electrified, so the Habana should be able to do some damage there if it goes top corner unchecked, which it will in the top corner. Is the unchecked going to come together? No.
Impact use, not an EMP, just an impact explosive used to get rid of those X-Kairos. So Shaiko is going to be a little bit more secure for now in his only named spots. Grenade from Spiff coming down, but on my disc, he's going to be catching that one. So he's going to be throwing a second one with Iconic right below on the staircase there. Bride falls first. J90 takes him down.
This is exactly the start that Astralis need. They flood into the site and flood the bodies out. There's at least 2 back from BDS, but with Forrest in a corner ready to tuck and plant and 1 more in their favor, Efak is in a bit of a tricky situation. He swings, gets Iconic. Shaiko, he's got to win out his engagement, but they don't quite get the full bite. There it is. The pair of them in a 2 versus 1. Forrest didn't have the biggest game on the previous, got the kit here. A clutch would be huge, but he cannot quite get the connection. And I said the danger is these 2 guns from their previous map continuing to pop off. They said we.
For those of you at home that do not know what it means, that means yes in French. It's just clarifying here.
I'm traveled.
Well spoken. But they did exactly everything right there on the side of BDS. You know, Efak swings out, takes down the one on the cover. Then they realize, hey, there's someone still in blue. They work together. They swing at the same time. And after that, they stay together with a meter between themselves. So it isn't just a quick spray transfer. It isn't just a lineup in case they do swing that whole way. They find the clutch. BDS working together is what basically gets in that first round, because I was going to commend Astralis. Really well done. They open up the hatch very quickly. They take floor under control quickly. Yeah. They use the Flores drone to get Elbow under control. They push Elbow right afterwards and get the entries. Everything was going their way until Shaiko and Efak struck back.
It's the very strange, frustrating thing here is Astralis did that. I'm not going to say perfectly, obviously, but close to. It was so good. And you want to say, just do it again, because you'll more than likely find success. It's one of those things where, as you said, all of the structure take was fantastic. It was some of the best attacking that we've seen from them. It's their map, you expect it, but that was so well played. It was exactly how they needed to be. They needed to bounce back into this game, and they did. BDS have Shaiko and Efak, 2 of the best guns in the world, and as you said, they know how to go for retakes. The way that they're able to manipulate the space, they didn't quite double up, but they were always supporting each other. That stuff happens, but even then, that was them pulling it back from your guys' great work, Astralis. Try and go back to that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, strategically, nothing done wrong there by Astralis. Just the gunfights not really working your way, and them coming back at you like that. Double teaming. Shuttle taken down first. It's the entry kill for BDS this round. Shaiko will take him down. That's going to be the floors off the board. It's going to be a huge loss considering 4 RC Retiros no longer to be used. Think about all the shields that could be out there as Lems takes down Forest as well. This looks like BDS might just try and continue on their old habit that they have set up on Kafe.
I think they were taken a bit surprised by the pace of Astralis on the previous round, and they've sort of said, well, let's see if we can lean into that a little bit more. Obviously, different side, second story, more windows, but there, Shaiko propped up on the attic window, waiting to see a result, and Spiff, in the meantime, he's crept his way through into Trophy. Isn't quite going to overextend the swing. Just going to hold and hope somebody gets caught out and a bold rotate round the back end as the Candela pressure might start to come round behind them. But you're up against the Warden. Shaiko is the perfect person to be in a position to stop this. He turns on the glasses, he waits. Lems is on the far opposite end. The grenade under Renshiro doesn't get the catch. And look at this, Shaiko, he just steps even further in. And as they see it's a Warden, they pop the canister. Spiff gets caught from Renshiro. And Iconic now a little bit separated underneath.
And he popping those glasses, not even trying to go for the shot on the Candela. You can, of course, shoot them out as well, but it's just so finicky, and you know, often a push instantly comes right after. So using those glasses is just a way better option to deal with it if you are, of course, the Warden. Now, there is a C4 still in pocket for Shaiko. Iconic is hunting below, but he gets taken down, meaning it's only left to J90. Oh, he did everything he could. He jumped in, got taken down. There was nothing really he could do from that spot. And they're getting very loud at the side of BDS.
Lui, miskin, la ligne là, il a rentré, il a mis ses 2 lignes dans 2 ADS. Il y avait un Goyo, il n'a pas pu rentrer.
Something entry, Goyo, and get you an entry.
Goyo gets you an entry.
Something like that. I mean, my French is by no means perfect, but I heard entrée, which
is entry.
Is entry or entry. And Goyo seems like Goyo, but, you know. I mean, I ain't
You
no
hope that's a flat translation.
But I hope that's a flat translation.
You hope that's a flat translation.
Otherwise, I might have just sworn. I mean, it's not the first time one of us has sworn with French broadcast accidentally, right?
Okay, well, the first round was great from Astralis. That was unfortunately great from BDS if you're an Astralis fan. For BDS, you couldn't have asked for a more perfect return. To go from how quickly they were overwhelmed and swamped and taken a little bit by shock and awe in the first round to just running the gauntlet the second time there, as they were sort of saying and alluding to, they're in positions to get the first step in. They were pushing and pressuring and manipulating the space. They were confident enough to go for roams, rotations, and try and find the approaching players, as well as still having all of their structure. By the end, the site itself was entirely untouched.
LMs might play this in a do and die situation here. He's had 2 frost mats to back himself up. He's going to be playing in a small tower. There's basically no way he's going to get out of there alive. Unless he kills everybody that is going to come and hunt him. And the idea of those frost mats is that as soon as they do start and try and jump in, well, there's nothing really they can do because they'll be instantly either picked up by the guns or by the frost mat right afterwards. That's what he's trying to bank on here.
Forest going around the back end of LMs. The shuttle is on the front. They're going to see if they can probably pop some grenades, and they're going to see if they can get some support just from around the side. The Florist drones are a great bit of kit for this exact break. You can remove those frost mats that are being pinged to the players. You can offer some support and some play against what is otherwise set in. Well, you do just that. A little duck and take there from Spiff. Excellent removal of LMs, and that's how you demonstrate a small tower break.
Just jump in. There's still frostmat there.
Don't do it.
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 They've cleared out the other one, I believe.
Yeah, the others entered from it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they've drifted over to double, and instead they've got Iconic ready to swing from the side of Pit. They're hoping they try and rotate down white, maybe offer some support towards the site itself, but for now they can just get the freebie from it. Shaiko entirely caught unaware.
Yeah, it seems like they weren't aware of someone being out there in Attic, and that's going to be that double loss here for BDS. That's going to be hurting them quite a bit. A lot of verticalities being set up above the dining area as well. Leak Effect has the opportunity for 1, not 2 free kills. The confirm didn't come through. A flawless round as a reply to a flawless round from Astralis.
Okay, you know how I said the last round was a great response to the first round?
Yeah, this is another great
Yeah, the third is a great response to the second. A flawless on the back of a flawless either side. And, well, Astralis are far from done yet, and this is what you wanted to see from them. It was more of that first round. It was pitch perfect. They knew what they needed to put the pressure on. They let themselves in. They weren't entirely throwing themselves in.
Yeah.
The setup was there. The break, as I said, the Florist drone to remove parts of the hold. The Lems was entirely cornered, and then they focused on what they needed to put pressure onto next. They didn't get lost, as they seemed a bit on Kafe, where they were trying to piece together where BDS were. They knew where they were, and they made sure they were punished for it.
I'm going to say it's a tertiary site that was just played. However, we need to see more of that resolve that we just had on the other two, especially this one, Laundry. It is quite a difficult site to approach. And I'm quickly pulling up the Oregon statistics. 73% win rate on this side, 26 plays, by far the most played site during the Six Invitational on this map so far. So, that being said, it is very defense-sided, especially if you have a mirror on the board and there's no Twitch on the opposite end to counter it. That's going to be making things even more difficult here.
Similar sort of approach. Not going to double-check that call this time. He's confident.
Yeah, got it.
Hey, oh, he still double-check. He still went back at the end of that. I mean, the hatch was able to be opened by the Thatcher last time. It'll at least take some utility and means you can maybe move those claws elsewhere, because chances are if that hatch does get popped open, that claw will still be collectible. It won't get destroyed by the impact.
No, that will definitely not be destroyed. There's indestructibility on the other side. Spiff. It's going to give away his position right there. Takes down the cam, fires some shots over the G36C. There's no real need to worry on the side of BDS because there's a mirror window right next to it. So, need to get a grenade on the other side to clear out set player. There's no way for them to shatter either that glass or to break it without attacking from the opposite side. But the other one is in a small office watching the laundry staircase as well. So, basically both unusable.
Put a little punch hole in there to make them a bit cautious, and they have the camera watching it. For now, they haven't decided to swing their way up. Here comes the pressure onto the hatch, and look at that, Astralis actually have a player watching it. The second one will get caught out. The claw gets recollected. And now they pull themselves back in as the Florist does the work we talked about before. It's just the perfect operator for attacking this site, and this hold specifically can roll its way on through, gone with a slightly different angle. The ADS is catching some of the damage. That one will get it forced around. Shaiko's still in a position where you can play against the wall. The break comes when Shiro pre-fires. There's a pre-fire right back. Drop on the hatch itself. They swing around in close. Renshiro gets the scrape onto one, and with Efak getting one more, Forrest gets the double and drives through, but Renshiro catches one, and there's Forrest with his third. Alems, suddenly, all that's left in a 2 versus 1. The kid hasn't been planted, but with all the time that they have here, Astralis, with a little bit of side control, can maybe try and formulate the fight. Alems is going to see if he can get at least one engagement first. They were holding Pillar. He was a little late to the party, but there's the grand reveal on just where he's stacked up. So they can maybe move towards the default plant spot, although the C4, if that goes over the top and he gets this first engagement, they're going to stick the plant. You got to see if you can get the lead in, but J90 has the cover.
The kill was there, the cover was there, otherwise that C4 definitely would have been dropped and taken care of, the diffuser. So good stuff on the cover there. A bit of chaos coming through. I mean, the hatch drops and the rotation as well back into blue from the first person dropping electrical was made possible by Floors using the RC Rotero, creating that rotation. Allowed him to quickly put up that pressure onto Shaiko. He was, of course, watching the barrel. Suddenly there's someone like within half a meter of you. It's not something you would have expected to happen. And you catch them by surprise. You find yourselves an extra round. And that's, again, that resolve we needed to see. Astralis, they ran into problems. They saw the mirror windows. They saw basically the entire south side and west side are not going to be usable. All we have is a staircase and one hatch, and that's all they needed.
Okay, 2-2. Suddenly we got a game on our hands, and I'll be honest, you always enjoy it when it does come together. We'll see if BDS can sort of lean back in. There's a couple of players that haven't quite had the same connection this time round as last. Obviously, Brede hasn't quite been in a position to get himself engaged in the gunfights. And with how things are getting quite scrappy, that shows that, to me, Astralis have stepped up into this. They were missing on that gun game, specifically before, and here, they're a threat, they're a force. That is exactly what you need. There's an Gara hook. A chance at a quick play and plant here. Iconic, you know, you'll often either see this to get to the top of tower, but the fact that they're not doing that makes me think it might come in for a big risk towards the bedroom window.
Definitely be some quick pace to come through, but I believe for now it's just Iconic near the tower. Of course, quick travel as well, using that. And there comes Thermic, yeah, just want to open up quickly, but they need to have this Selma as well, just to make sure that if there is any tricking going on. Oh no, they wanted to go for the opposite side as well at the same time.
Just
very
look
quickly.
at this, they're in. Forrest going straight to the plant. Iconic in the bedroom window. Brede and J90 kind of able to get a couple of Lemses underneath, but they do get the planter. Efak, he's looking for the fight. Spiff's holding off on the top of white stairs for the rotate and gets the catch perfectly. Alems, everything to do up the hatch as the check. Has it been checked, and will they find out? They're watching. There's the drone. They know where he is, and he is 40 seconds, but it's an easy close down for Astralis.
Good fucking call, bro. I think Sus can be back down, bro.
I thought you meant the Gen 1. No.
Good calls coming down on the rush call coming through. Just all these openings happening at the same time and just instantly running through the breach. That is always something that catches defenders off guard. Same with the Amaru just repelling in.
So I called it.
As you called it, yeah. And that means that, you know, you catch BDS by surprise. There's only a couple of people left and they're offside. There's not much they can do. And now they're headed back towards the basement, hoping to find themselves with a 3-3 half.
Astralis has been so sharp these past 3 rounds. And you kind of wonder what is going to blunt them at this point. The pace has been phenomenal. They are a great Oregon team, and they're proving it. And as I said, you needed that. You wanted that from them. The same way BDS did it. Because the third map is going to be a bloodbath if we end up there. And at this rate, we probably will. But it's a game of 2 halves, and I won't get too ahead of myself. BDS, they've struggled to get a connection with the players of Astralis. Just the motions that they're making as well. They always seem a bit surprised that things are coming at them as fucking heavy and hard as they are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, BDS did look quite surprised there, and you shouldn't be with the openings happening. Someone should be watching them. Someone should be ready to instantly reply as they walk in. And, you know, of course, 3 fires came down from Astralis, and one of them instantly did get a kill. But BDS should be more ready. For now, they're showing that Oregon isn't one of their best maps, and they'll be struggling with that if they continue throughout this tournament, if this is what their current state of Oregon looks like.
J90, he was sharp in the first map, and there's a big name screaming through the last side. Iconic has stepped up massively as well. To be honest, my eyes are a little bit drawn to the Blitz, though. Where is Forest going to go as their point of ingress? You'll often see a Blitz push onto blue. It'll move behind, drive towards the shield, and just put a lot of stress and pressure on the player, but it's often combined with maybe a Gon 6, some pressure from around the sides as well, because you're forcing yourself against a smoke and a shotgun. There's a quick play and break onto the hatch itself to make sure they don't get electrified, and focus towards tower once again.
Forrest is having himself ready. He's bringing his own drone towards him. He is just going to be that one bit of pressure needed from blue. I think we're going to see a similar kind of hedge drop strategy coming through, but this time there is going to be that one shield to provide some support. The Salmons go off. That is going to be putting Shaiko in a bit of a more difficult position if it were not for the impact grenade they just used. As BDS, for now, just using his smoke canisters to stop any push from coming in. There's only 30 more seconds he can do that with before Forrest is free to walk in.
No, as I said, pressure around here onto blue, led in by Flores drones. Will he make the motion? There's the drive. He's concerned about Shaiko swinging, but J90 has the cover, and there's the Blitz trying to get it. There's one, there's two! Locked down on the elbow swing, and Astralis blindside BDS.
Let's go, baby! Put your hands in the air! Put your hands in the air!
Just having a party already. I haven't even won the map yet. But they're definitely on the way there. And that was one of those classic 3, 2, 1, execute moves coming through as they just went for it. The double kill with the Blitz. The other players as well, just doing what they needed, picking up their fights. The cover on Shaiko as well, perfectly placed. Now BDS over to the attack. On the defense, they seem lost. Let's see if they can pull something together on the attack right here to bring it up a little bit closer.
Located by attackers.
Because those first 2 rounds, that was great. Everything else afterwards is not major champion material that we've seen. It's not what we're used to be seeing from them.
No. They're going to try a play of their own, though. What? How do you fight fire with fire, fight Blitz with Blitz?
10 seconds to insertion.
Can you blame them? Not really.
Richiro isn't the first name that I would tie to Blitz.
No, but who would you put on Blitz for this lineup?
Yeah, that's the tricky thing with BDS.
Shaiko? I mean, we've seen him play Monty before. It's,
yes, once in charity tournaments, yes, I believe.
Exactly,
yeah, I mean, they're going full in on it, and this is the old school-ish way of doing it. They're going to get the reveal. Shuttle's close with a shotgun. They're going to Gon 6 the door and charge behind it, or maybe just shoot through. There's Renshiro, 3, 2, 1, go. He's getting the blind on Shuttle. There's the kill on the first. There's Forrest round the back, though, with the double. They're inside the side. EFAC down, buried inside Laundry. The rotate onto Freezer are the 2 remaining players. J90 opens a bit of the angle. There's one coming down on the back end. Iconic has some of the support, but without the diffuser, who knows where it's sat. The first reveal is the big one. Shaiko's looking for the fight, but it's Iconic with the break, and Shaiko with Spiff. Blow for blow and trade for trade. J90 with a bit of a reveal. EFAC now all that is left. And with a bit of the break, all the goo mines in a slow, we still have 2 minutes left of this round. Astralis, shoulder peek, get a reveal, give a little bit to EFAC. The flash over the top, the rotate round to pillar, another shoulder peek. EFAC cannot quite get the motion, the moment right here, and that's going to be a bit of a blow. Steps right into a goo mine, has not left, and they still have plenty of those littered around. One more flash. A little bit of a slink and a rotate away, covered by the noise. He wants to just try and find a single 1 versus 1. The pre-fire, do they know where he is? They seem to have a pretty good idea. Does one. Can he get the last? There's a bit of a chance. There's a bit of a prey. And there's a bit of a rotate. The pings are hard. They know where he is. He's pulled off. He's going for one more pressure. There's another catch, another bulletproof, and another minute has ticked away. J90. He gets it out.
Shouting the names. The 2-5 is there for Astralis. It did get quite close though. The rush could have worked out, but the diffuser dropped in the first casualties of that round. Is what stopped that.
No fucking.
You heard him.
Yeah, you heard him. The language is pretty clear. I'm not going to repeat it, but you know. But due to that diffuser dropping, you know, there was no way to bait those defenders coming towards you. There was no, you know, baiting with putting the kit down and trying to force a move. No. And as long as you don't have that, those defenders are going to be staying put. And you're going to have to force yourself into getting those 2 1v1s.
I think that was it. You know, you could see that suddenly they're in this really rocky engagement. You've got a blitz, but when you're in that situation as the blitz at that point and you've done your job, you become quite awkward because you've done that little quick dive. The reason it can work in that short space, and you see it specifically for those pushes, is you're turning a corner pretty instantly. You should have some cover on your back. That dropped out, but you're going in a straight line down a narrow corridor.
Yeah.
You know what you're pointing at.
Shocking all.
At that point, then you're in a room, and you've got to think where they're at. There's vision down from Freezer. There's potentially, you know, laundry stairs to their left. There's potentially the swing around the long corridor on the right. It's so tricky for you to then manipulate yourself and maneuver to a place where you can do the support and have to fight your way back out. So,
I mean, the name kind of says it, right? Blitz. It's meant to be a quick initial attack, and after that, you're going to find yourself with League of Fact picking up a kill. Needs to be careful, though. Almost lost his own life rightly after. The entry is there. This is something they need to build off.
Oh, he's so tempted to swing back. He doesn't know that he's not looking. Now he is. Oh, and he just slips the timer there. Forrest could have been gifted the first. For Astralis this round, he might be able to still find it down the corridor, and Astralis is just stepping in. They sort of said, look, this is our game. This is our fight. The grenade down the end of the corner gets a perfect take. And as the E1D pops out, they're going to just make sure that nobody's getting the recovery. A bit of motion, a bit of movement. An easy pickup with the Lem's also finding one on the back end. Okay. Suddenly, things have entirely lit up for the side of BDS. Spiff, can he try and pull some of this body count back?
Big question. Grenade is being pulled. He should be aware of it.
Puts it back in.
Back in pocket. Yeah, he's not going to be throwing that one. He didn't want to go for the re-peek. E1D comes off, means he needs to stand still. And as he moves again, he's going to try and find Shaiko. But there's going to be another member of BDS quite close. Shuttle up above is the only member on the actual side. Is not receiving any pressure yet, but he doesn't have to because there's still plenty of time. Shaiko takes the head off clean. Only up to Shuttle now in a 1v5. An ace-clip situation needs to happen. Is it likely? Well, not very. They're inside by the double window. A plant surely is coming down soon. Not even a flawless round from BDS to put them up 3-5. They are still in this game, even though Astralis is ahead.
Third flawless round of this map. 2 of them have been BDSs of their 3.
That's the secret. You just need to get a flawless round to win it.
They're like all or nothing.
Yeah, definitely are.
They're like, we all survive or we're not taking the round.
You know, it's just a team mentality. Like, we win together, we lose together.
It's worth sort of looking at that past round as well in terms of Astralis. 3 of them were on peaks outside. You had the double door, you obviously had Iconic caught out, and then you had the bottom white stairs. Yeah, they were, you know, I'm not going to say they sort of played that one to the wire, but they went for an aggressive strategy and it fell away from them. They still have a lot to play for there. You take a risk. Because if you win that round and you get yourself into map point 6-2 off of the back of 3 people peering out the front windows, that's a huge mentality thing.
All right.
10 seconds to
Let's see if the mentality continues. For now, it doesn't look like there's any spawn peak attempts being set up. The only one close to it is Forrest. He's still putting down some of the Banshees, so doubt he's going to be going for a cheeky look towards the outside world. just wanting to stay alive now. Do the best he can. Drones coming through. Spotted out the ADS. Brede instantly exerted his drone as well. It's going to be rotating it around to a different part of the map. It is going to be a mirror window taken out quickly, though, by Leakfact's Twitch. He's on the hunt for an XPC utility. Might actually be trying to hide that drone in that bookshelf for a bit of utility and information later on.
BDS still on the back foot. Still going to have to try and pull this away. It's obviously a slight difference in terms of the site. They didn't want to double down with dorms. Instead, they're going to go for their tertiary. They're going to go for a slightly different approach here. And, well, it's a slightly different approach. As I said, if the previous one was full guns blazing outside the door, this time they've gone, okay, let's not lose our heads. Let's go back to a bit of this control and play against the time, because they've done that very well throughout this Shaiko. He's looking for an engagement both up and down the stairs. Slight rotate and support coming through, and with that mirror window open, Forrest is playing it a little bit more of a dangerous angle. Luckily for the player on the drone, they were behind the solid shower wall.
Grenade been tossed in, no one in security. At least, according to that grenade. I believe a rotation might have just came through that actually makes sure it is now manned. Lem's just holding Spiff as well from above. They're all trying to provide some cover to one another. As the basement in the meantime is being entered by Leakfact, as you just saw. He's going to go on a bit of a, potential flank, see if he can sneak up anywhere without making too much noise. BDS still trying to figure out where they want to go for. It looks for now like it should be a kitchen push, and Leakfact coming up right here, and Freezer should double down on that. Hoping that he might be able to catch one off if they rotate down.
That's it. They've sort of posturized their way around kitchen, but that comes with vertical, and that's what Alem's doing right now. They're pushing their way across. Alem's got himself inside. Ranchero gets Forrest, and now EFAC is driving towards it, but you still need the kills up top. And that's Alem's to win out the first, Alem's to win out the second as well. As the smokes go down, J90 smoke goes right back. Hopes to stop the plant. They can always move and manipulate as EFAC doubles deep and pushes down the long corridor. Iconic just saw a sliver of a player behind a bed, didn't get the full sight. They're kind of dipping either way, and Alem's tucked on a corner, is able to pick up Iconic, a bit blind. J90 against the world, and well, it's another flawless round.
Parfait l'initiative, parfait, parfait.
Redid something perfectly. So did BDS, another flawless round coming through.
I can't believe that the majority of their rounds that they've won have been flawless.
Yeah, it is insane. 3 out of 4 rounds.
3 out of 4 BDS rounds have been flawlesses, and they're still losing the game.
For now. That might just turn around, We're headed back towards the laundry. It is a failed rush attempt that we saw here in round 7 to come through. They were left with 3 people, but no diffuser in pocket. Makes it a little bit difficult to get that, side advantage that they did manage to build up to really work your way. And thus a different approach is most likely imminent now from BDS. For now, do not see any blitz. Of course, can still change. There's, 14 seconds left that they can. Operators only lock at 2 seconds left. But it seems to be a very standard kind of take that they want to be going for here. You see soft breach capability in terms of Zofia, Buck, Sledge. You also have the hard breach in terms of Hibana, but also Buck. And you have the entry, but also a little bit of information coming out from Shaiko and Iana. So it's all round. It's not made for a rush. You can rush with it if you really want to, but it's more of a default kind of take they want to go for.
Astralis, a couple of rounds have slipped away, and I think if this one does as well, we might get a team talk. Spiff pulls himself before they're pulled out of the engagement. EFAC with the entrance onto small tower, wants to get the angle and cut off the rotate. Force a bit of an awkward play in case they come this way, but they've already left. Spiff wasn't going to try and butt heads this far away from the site itself with no support. They know that they've got to be in charge of that trade game.
2 minutes 10. BDS entering from the western side. Shaiko is waiting for that drone to roll up ahead from him. Are they aware of the fact that someone is on the freezer stairs? Well, I believe that person is just falling back now. It's Spiff, heading down just slightly. That drone now will have spotted it out. The hatch is open. Got to be careful for that one. Shaiko actually went upstairs rather than chasing the drone headed downwards. Of course, Iconic is still in T3, so he's all the way up above. He will remain a threat for the remainder of the round. He is potentially going to turn into a bit of a flank that will be activated later on.
This is when you post the Batman memes.
Yeah, that is where you post the Batman meme.
Waiting.
Like the signal when you
holding on the rooftops, ready to pounce and get the French. But J9 going to be a first bit of preparation, pre-fires into the angle in case somebody was watching it on the opposite end. Iconic still sits, still waits, patient as ever. The longer this time goes on, the more dangerous he becomes. That drone getting caught out is brilliant for Iconic. Still sits, still waits, still holds on as BDS go about their day and try and put pressure onto the opposite end. They're picking up and rotating, I believe, over to blue. They are. Alems is there. The kit is above the hatch by itself. Still waiting, still holding on, still ready as Shuttle pulls themselves back towards the site itself. They're wondering just when the push is going to come, but with 40 seconds left, it has to be sooner rather than later. More drones proposition, more drones get themselves set up. They're trying to piece things together. The break finally comes, 30 seconds.
Ooh, they're aware.
They know. They just found out at the end there, and EFAC, he was holding onto the angle. The rotate goes above. There's the break on the hatch. They're looking for the fight, and he's got to look up. He's got to look down. He's all alone. Spiff gets Shaiko, and Shiro gets damaged, and there is Astralis getting themselves a huge amount of bodies. Bride all that's left. But without the diffuser, we're on that point.
Listen, we should consolidate the roam here, bro. And we should try to play forward towards like
What kind of shouting?
Yeah, so you guys remember the setup for fucking
The enemy's name. Attack break. 4-6, logical to call it now, of course. If you lose this, you're headed towards a map number 3 again. For those of you that are wondering. Sorry.
Et quand on exec, ils sont 2 ou 3 BP, ok? Là, on a tenté autre chose, on a laissé un roamer au top, etc. On a été puni derrière, ok? Là, on est en 6-4, on est en 4-6, ok? Là, si mettre le round, la map, elle est finie, d'accord? Mettez-vous un truc dans la tête, les gars. C'est le Six Invitational, ok? C'est qu'une fois dans l'année, les gars. Donc là, les gars, il reste quelques rounds, on peut revenir, les gars, ok? C'est pas perdu. On y croit, on le fait, on joue ensemble, on continue. Ce que vous avez fait, c'était bien, mais punissez-les. Punissez-les, les gars. C'est des merdes, ok? Allez, les gars, vamos!
Allez les gars là. On y va, on les punit.
En vrai, les gars, je vous le dis, en termes de duel, on est au-dessus. Mais genre largement. Genre vraiment. Donc je pense qu'en vrai, quand on fait nos attaques depuis le début qui sont passées là, je pense que ce qu'on a fait, c'est bien.
I understood a couple of those words.
What do you understand?
One of them I can't repeat because it's a swear.
Of course you understand that word.
But I think a lot of that was sort of saying, this is the Six Invitational. We know how to play this game. We know how important this is. There's a lot of passion there. There always is with the French team.
Yeah. Also heard something along the lines. This is 4-6 now. We'll make this 8-6. You know, something like that.
4-6.
They'll be able to lock it off. If they really believe in themselves, of course, that would require them to go back into the defense in overtime, which hasn't really been kind to them. It requires some improvements to be made, but you know, better to try than to give up now. Changes coming through. Line, Twitch. Those are still tentative, could still change. Of course, to take care of the mirror windows that could be brought by Spiff and are being brought. They've been proven troublesome for both these teams, and that Twitch should be a way to deal with it.
BDS, will the team talk prove the necessary missing ingredient to driving it back? It was a missed moment there. They obviously got the intel of the roam, of Iconic, but they got it super late. EFAC gets that mirror window super early. The Mozzie will still cause potential problems for the approach of those drones, as it did before, but at least this time they can do some damage. I do like the limitation on the drone game of BDS. Astralis obviously picked up on just how good it had started to turn into.
He's acting like he's one of the drones right now. He turned his back to them as they opened up the wall, so forced, you know, that his drone wouldn't be spotted out as being one of the fakes.
Is that 2 drones that have fallen? No, they're able to get that Mozzie past. I thought they'd been able to get 2 of them there.
He's just spotted out Shaiko. He's letting them know. A second person just entered. Also, no clue that that's a taken drone. They should really be aware of the fact that one of them is not their own.
Both mirror windows popped open, and the suspicious drone with the fake mustache is still happy to drive around and pretend that it's one of the gang, but Forrest actually almost gets removed from the opposite end, and there's two drones getting the full read on the player. That one gets sprayed down the cover, and Shiro is going to bounce this grenade around the corner off the open mirror window and push behind it. Cannot get the tail. They've slipped on Bayer, and Shiro, he's able to win out the engagement. Does he know the second? They're able to slip themselves off. Shaiko, he's tucked. He was hoping somebody might try and swing their way back round onto that, but they're otherwise not making their presence known as of yet.
Tony Forrest actually was the one that got picked up by that grenade, as he was the one that was droning it and seeing it happen as he was standing there when I just forgot where he was located at that point. Got saved, but Spiff lost his life for it, so a life for a life in that matter for Astralis, but they could still go for those drones. They are still in play. As Shaiko has in the meantime put himself up towards the bottom of the white stairs, looking to push up. They're aware of someone on Armory. Forrest goes for a run out, takes down Leakafak, and that brings it back to a 4-4.
LM's holding off on the window. Passionate words from the man that you need to have. Big step up here as Shaiko swings, just sees the side of a player that might have seen them slip onto white there at the top. LM's is on the bottom, rocked off. There's another quick pickup, and as I said, they had an idea, and now, well, it's a 2 versus 4. There's another gunfight that doesn't quite get itself resolved, but they've retaken underneath, retaken the top of white. Brede, 2 players left to find. One was below, so they've gone for a bit of a rotate. He's tucked, baiting the motion. There's a little bit of a swing, but barely any time, and Astralis aren't offering anything. Saw some of the engagement to the top of white. There's a rotate that comes off. There's an unfortunate timed plant. And we are going to map 3.
Going to map 3 indeed to decide which of these two teams is going to be finding themselves in the upper bracket and which is going to be down into that lower bracket. It's going to be a tough fight going up towards that last map. They played there once before. It was the Charlotte Major as well. I believe back then it was in favor of Astralis with a 7-2 victory. Let's see if that is going to remain, as we head to a quick break before breaking down this map and heading into the next.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Hello and welcome back to this showdown between Astralis and BDS. The first map was BDS's, the second Astralis's. Who is going to break this deadlock? Well, that will be settled at the bank.
Yeah, that is where it will all be decided. Again, for those of you just tuning in, this is for basically the upper bracket spot. These two teams are fighting for. Whoever loses out is going to be to the lower bracket, is going to be losing their extra life. Whoever wins this is going to be gaining it. Now, depending on the other results, I believe, and depending on the result here, this could also be for a second seed. And for those of you that might be like, well, okay, but what's the difference between a second and a third seed? Because they both give you an upper bracket without a bye. Yes, you're 100% correct, but there's definitely a difference to it. And that difference is that the number 2s can pick their matches. So if you get the second seed, you can then go like a good old, schoolyard PE kind of game and be like, I choose you to go up against me. But basically, if you get last picked here, it means you're the best team out of the ones that's left. So it's not quite like school, but it's
a little bit.
It's a little bit, but it's also opposite day and all that kind of stuff. Either way, that's what we're fighting for here.
You picked last. Is this bringing back traumatic memories?
It's bringing back traumatic memories. No, I was actually I was the only goalkeeper in class. So
okay, I'm gonna make you get into an argument with one of our observers that I know is in the green room, potentially watching and listening in. I don't know if our game has the audio. This will be the factor of whether. Are you a better goalkeeper than Stefan Easy Kemink?
I dare to say I am. But we've never really had the opportunity to try.
There's content.
There is content.
If you could choose any one member of talent to be the one taking penalties against you, who would you choose?
Because they're good at taking penalties? Or
it's your choice. You can say your reasoning if you want.
See, I would say Dez, because it's kind of funny to see him run.
He doesn't have to run that far for a penalty.
But it's I don't know if he's good at it. Yeah, that's, as Medic said, he would trip over.
Yeah.
That's kind of the reason why.
I feel like Jesse would be a bit confused with the sport.
Yeah, but that's because he's from a different continent, right?
Yeah,
it's like, if you say football, he's probably,
I couldn't imagine
like the Americans
Parker
thinking about
sports.
running it. Parker doing sports now.
Hey, we're in. We find ourselves on to bank. If you missed the first two maps, well, they were pretty hefty. The Twitch ban, I think, fair enough. We saw some pretty good Twitch play. We saw some pretty good use and utility throughout this. And, how it sort of caused problems for Astralis. All right, get rid of it. Pull that away. It's a good gun. It's a better gadget in some hands. And BDS are pretty good with it. When you're also wanting to play mirrors, when you're also wanting to play these stretches that they did on the previous map, and you're maybe thinking, oh, who's down here? Goyo, which we can already see the canisters of. Twitch is just powerful.
Yeah. That's it. Twitch just takes so much utility out so easily. Like, it's just a small drone zapping by, zapping gadgets, destroying them. And of course, like an evil eye is not easily destroyed, only if the bulletproof camera is open, for example. But you're talking electroclaws, ADSs, Goyo canisters, indeed the mirror windows. Those are all easily targeted by the Twitch drones and taken care of. So BDS not going to be able to use those, so instead they choose the next best thing, and that is going to be the Flores, using those explosive drones. See what they can do. Remove some of the utility as well.
What Astralis are we going to get? I'm curious to see on the lead and on the defense, because on the second map, it was such a good performance. They were everywhere. They were causing problems. BDS could never really get themselves comfortable. They kept on being met by fights, and there were moments where BDS warmed up into it. I mean, of the 4 rounds, they got 3 of them were flawlesses. It was a very strange performance where it was kind of heavy-handed to that degree, and, Astralis just kept on finding ways to, when it turned into a bit of a bloodbath, lock it out and win the last sort of engagements and trades.
Yeah, that's what they will be aiming for here. And that's the first. Spiff takes the initial kill. That's Alems off the board. It is going to be a Maverick gone as well. And that is certainly making it a bit harder to open up some of these hatches. You might be wondering why. It's because of the fact that Cade is on the board. There is no EMPs that could be used by BDS. And that means that these hatches that currently are electrified will stay closed unless the grenade lands right below them. Luckily though, the main two hatches are able to be opened up. But Brede can only really afford to open up one as he needs to use a second extra thermic onto the wall.
Well, they are steadying their hand towards blue. They don't entirely know that somebody's been forced out of there. They don't have the intel, and the hatch itself is locked, so there's no route through. They're not wasting time, but they're having to spend it because of the lack of some of the other bits of growth. Roll past the shield, there's the call that it's clear, and there's the movement right behind it. Renshiro making sure they can make up for some of the lost time and get eyes on towards the wall itself. They've only got limited resources. They've got to try and make sure it can catch and count. That's a fun Maestro bubble, buried just under the side of the trucks. They get an idea. The first fire canister pops as some of the attention's paid towards the hatch above.
Shaiko's out there providing some support. He's going to be making sure no one is able to just step in on Astralis' side. The plant soon is looking to be put down. You see these RC terrorists still coming down just to get rid of some of the utility pieces, flashbangs as well, so that means a push is coming down very soon. Grenades going through as well. Is Forrest in a good position to get these smokes down? And C4 as well is going to be dealing a lot of damage to Brede, but not enough to take him down.
Brede is shuffling into the plant. There's another smoke, and if that one's in range, Brede will get got, but he's not quite got. The bullets fly over the bow, but Shaiko, he wins it out. Forrest gets locked, and now the retake over the top. EFAC wins the first engagement. Iconic's going to see if he can step into the second. Hits the beepers will be the call to both players inside open where he is. Finds one, Shaiko with the trade out. And I said it's an important part of the game, but now they've lost one of the most, which is that vertical retake. It's a huge time sink and something you have to do. There's a pop on a fire canister. It puts the damage down onto them. Renshiro rotates, ready for the engagement. That is thrown down towards the bottom of blue. The reveal of the barrel, the pre-fires, the angle. But from top to bottom, it's a BDS round.
A very simple take here, not taking more than they needed. You know, you get the open area, you open up the hatches, you take the server racks, open up the wall, you wait and bait the utility. And there you go, planting on the way. That C4 was a bit shorter. If the smoke was a bit shorter, Brede would have been taken down, and that would have been a round win potentially coming through. But what might have been is always the case. And now we head one floor up. We're not going to be repeating ourselves in the lockers. We're headed towards the open area. And there's multiple ways that we've seen this been played over this tournament and just in general over the year. So let's figure out how exactly Astralis is going to be setting this up. It looks like they're going to be reinforcing all four walls. There's not going to be a castle on the board which they could use to block off the double doors and other important doors to slow down the approach, which means that BDS does have the opportunity to bring pace if they so choose to. If I'm quickly looking at the win percentages here, open area, 49% defensive win rate. It's the one that is literally just on the bounds of being attack-sided.
Fun.
It is fun. Numbers.
It puts a statement, but I think what I kind of want is map 1 BDS and map 2 Astralis. Is that too much to ask for?
Oh, you mean both against each other? It's like we already have map 1 BDS and map 2.
Yeah, how have you never heard that?
I've heard it, don't worry. So.
I am worried. Now I'm more worried.
Don't be worried.
Over the top towards Kanto. Break open the corner, get your sightlines down the long corridor, and cut off rotates. Bank is a map that, when played bold, can be rotatable. It's not easy, but it's present. Talking of, eyes underneath. Do they know? Oh, now they do, and EFAC's not going to risk the fight. He had awareness of Iconic. That Goo-Mine gave Iconic awareness of the player. Good decision to pull back. Brede has the pings on the camera. Now Iconic knows he was being watched, and how long do you stick around? Not that long. EFAC's not going to risk it. Fair enough. It's a 1 versus 1 engagement. It's a 50-50, especially if the intel is now at that point in the favor of the Legion.
That was it. They had the ping. They knew exactly where it was. They went for the attempt. Got stuck by the Legion mine and thus had to pull off. So, you know, that's your opportunity gone. Still other opportunities to be gained. Shark already in Janitor. There's 2 rotations he can watch if there is just a little bit of pressure being put on any of the others. Might not even need it right there to just voluntarily walk right into him.
I just did not know. There was a little bit of a hole. He walked right into it with the pressure that had been put onto Kanto above. And J9O, he's going to see if he can maybe step in the roll of the grenade to where he was before. Puts the pressure, and Efax walked into the opposite end. He's hoping somebody else would rotate their way back round. Spiff above, though, with the locked hatch, playing a bit of a do-or-die position. Gets the kick cold. Iconic has some of the cover onto Renshiro. Where's the fight going to come from? Well, around the side, and it's scrappy. Shaiko does get the down, does get the confirmation, and can get the kit back, but Efax, in the meantime, wants to try and cut his way through. The site itself suffers from the side, loses out in the end of it. J9O will get the confirm on the kill as Shaiko's still doing business, finds Iconic. It is blow for blow in separate areas. The grenade pings its way around the corner. They're going to try and hit Beepers in the hatch potentially at the same time. Alems is tucked onto one side, but somebody else is tucked with him. BDS, how will you break on through?
This is like a default deadlock, right, that you're usually in. Both those players on those cubicles now, they have rotated slightly to provide themselves a bit more security as a Razor Bloom, I believe, was about to explode near Shaiko again. He's going to be finding himself near the Cubby, but someone just rotated in. J9O takes him down, leaves it only up to Alems right now. He picked up that diffuser. He's inside. And Razor Bloom goes off. That lets them know he's currently inside. A plant is going to be attempted. Is there any reply coming through? Forrest should be, but he doesn't quite know where he is. He's not attempting any of the wall bangs either. He gets the kill, however, right after the plant and shuts him down.
I can't hear y'all. Dude, Alems is fucking elusive, bro. Listen, Dave, I think we're back server. I mean, just the hard server, bro.
I mean, you got to give credit there to J9O. Huge player throughout the series, really. He just kept on moving to the right place for the right time. He was able to stop some of the bleeding. He read where the pressure was coming from and went, well, we need somebody's eyes here. And yeah, it's a team game. But a player like that in a situation like that, it's kind of the perfect response. What a piece. And we are back and forth.
Let's hope it stays like that for a very, very long time. Hopefully all the way to round 15. Just continuing to trade out these rounds to truly go down to the wire to figure out who takes this. Back to lockers, Astralis. As they have faith they're going to be able to do it this time around. And Mira gets brought. That is a big change compared to the last time we were here. Of course, nothing a Flores can do about said operator. And really, if you think about it, what does counter a Mira? Well, you can either go for smoke right in front of it, but that's just temporary. You could try and get some hard breach material on it and let it detonate, or you need a Twitch drone. That's really it. So all they have left on the side of BDS to deal with this would be an Ace or a Hibana. Now, they do have Hibana, so they do have the opportunity to try and fire out these mirror windows, but then they need to make sure that no one of Astralis can actually, you know, just shoot up those pallets easily.
I mean, that's it. I sort of talked about what can be run here when the Twitch is off the board. And Mira was one of the operators. Astralis bought a bit on Oregon and, you know, bringing a bit here. It's a sturdy gun. The quick pressure from the Flores drones over towards the top of blue. Remember how much of a problem that became for BDS. Not a huge problem, but definitely slowed them down a good 30 seconds longer than they probably would have liked. And this is just allowing them to sort of cut it in half.
Let's get that drone forward quickly. Probably to put up some extra pressure towards Forrest. Actually, no, straight up to the side. Probably take out as many Goyo canisters as possible.
And
there's none located on the actual site. It's of course due to the mirror window to be out there, as Iconic gets the very first. That's Shaiko taken care of. Astralis, they open up strong right here by taking down Shaiko, who over these last 2 rounds has 6 kills on the board. He's been carrying a lot of BDS's success here.
I mean, you think, you know, when we first saw this exact site on the first round, the first body was in a similar place. They rotate back from open. They're able to catch that opening engagement, pull them away. It was Alems last time. And then they step back in BDS, the Shaiko getting control of the hatch. This time it's the other way around. So they've still got to do the work here. They've still got to be able to try and find some of that cover. Talking of, the pressure and the cover on the hatches starts to be broken open. They are a man disadvantage. They were last time. What's the change going to come through from Astralis at this point? The hatch gets open. They're going to stick around blue a bit longer.
90 seconds. In the meantime, it's even 80. They're still around on the blue stairs. A smoke canister put up. Forrest playing that with a shotgun is not going to be fun to try and clear unless they use Retiros. gets shot out though. Flashbang to follow. Forrest forced to fall back through the fire and gets taken down. But Likafaka quickly jumps through the hatch.
I mean, it was a good idea from Forrest there. It's sort of, you know, a rock in a hard place, a fire or certain death. He chose fire, but unfortunately BDS chose to chase as well, and now they can play this juggling game. But with 50 seconds, Astralis have done a better job at wasting a bit of time. Renshiro finds Spiff with a great take, and they might try and get the vertical a little bit earlier. It's a 4 versus 3. The C4 is the first, doesn't get anybody. The second is still more than likely, and there's a third. There's one more. Also shot out. Shuttle will have one as well. He's gonna try and get the angle. He can't quite find it. He's running and rotating, caught from the hatch, but there's the planter stopped. There's EFAC biting back. Just iconic, but BDS 2-1.
I was going to say, it's difficult to get the plan down with 3 C4s, but 2 of them tossed in, taken down instantly without not, you know, exploding. BDS, they had the advantage, they used it well, they got that cover and managed to, well, provide that support and win that round. Plan didn't go down this time, but doesn't always have to. But still the focus of the round there. Headed towards Tellers, as open area is still currently locked. We're not headed towards the top floor yet. Over this tournament so far, Tellers has been finding themselves played 12 times out of 129 rounds on bank. 60% win rate. So overall, pretty successful for defensive teams. The question is if it will stay that way.
BDS back and forth, and you know, it's bank. It does owe itself well to both these teams. It's the decider. We haven't seen a huge amount of deciders throughout this personally, but these two teams actually have. They've found themselves quite frequently slipping away to 3, especially Astralis, who I think have not had a clean series. Oh no, BDS even haven't had a clean series at all. Astralis have, they've had one, but this group, it's been quite scrappy.
Yeah, I think there's only been 2 clean series in this group so far, and that tells you everything you need to know.
They're used to it, and it's that even match level. It's that consistency of having big games, having bounce backs, and seeing where they can get into it.
One of those clean series was Cyclops.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. Now, it is going to be Claymore set up outside, just preparing for any jump outs that might be attempted by Astralis, as of course BDS is looking to set themselves up. Cheers player came in slightly misaligned there. It's just his chair. He is playing, don't worry.
Bomb located by attackers.
And it's Iconic. Just holding on, hoping to see any drones to come by. Doesn't quite happen yet. BDS just trying to get that first round. Still very wary about any of these potential runouts to come through.
Spiff leans back in, and this gun can be a battle axe through the heads of anyone in a direct line. You've just got to see if you can try and get the swing round. It hits hard and heavy. But how long can you sit there and survive? The wall off the side of stock will get popped open, or at least attempted to. They're watching with a bit of underneath. It's obviously electrified as well, with a slight swing around that Spiff is actually happy to take because he's moving out of the way of the threats of the grenades, rolling, cascading, and bouncing from multiple sides. Swings on the angle, but it's Forrest that opens it up, takes care of a Lems. Shaiko tucked around close towards the double door as Bride finally finds the response. Forrest gone, Renshiro with the grenade out, and Spiff, that's 3 that he's moved out of the way of, suffers a huge amount of damage, finally gets put down, but with Iconic able to find EFAC on the trade out.
Instant trade coming through again, yes. And, you know, they were trying to find Spiff with the 3-man pinch and eventually lost one as a result of it. Quite unnecessary, but Shaiko finds himself a return as well. Brings it to a 2-on-3. Iconic is now forced to jump up one of these hatches to get back to the side. I believe that is going to be the blue one, I think. Or at least the one inside the servers. One of these 2 hatches that have been opened up just so he can get back in, or otherwise he's going to be headed towards the server stairs and see if he can come back up that way to put up some pressure, because Shaiko is knocking on the front door right here. If he's quick enough, well, Shaiko's already dead, so it doesn't really matter. He would have been able to provide some support.
I'm reloading. Yeah, if he's quick enough, sort of turns into a moot point. If they're also quick too. 20 seconds, and they got to try and put a bit of a shift on now. The 2 versus 2. Some ability, some utility, and some usage left. They're dropping themselves close, but look at how they're tucked. Shuttle takes some damage. Iconic as well. They've got to lean into the fight. They're breakdancing for safety, but either side is French.
It's a French sandwich. We know, baguette with some cheese in between.
Disagree. Because what's bread in French?
Pain.
Lucca's CCTV is not going to be where we're going to go to actually next. It was, and then they swapped it off. Instead, I mean, well, where do you sort of go at this point? Let's go back to the site that we won. Open. They were toying with the idea of trying themselves down underneath, but they're going to see if they can at least get a second on, because if this next one falls away, I mean, I guess we'll see if they try and push themselves any further on before having a conversation.
Yeah, if they don't win this one now as well, it's starting to get, you know, a little bit dire for them, because suddenly you find yourself with a 4-1 on your defense on bank. Of course, you know, sometimes map leans more to defense, sometimes more to attack. This one is pretty close to 50-50. It's a 54% defensive win rate. That is now, you know, dropping as well as the rounds go on, as BDS currently has the majority of them. But you really want to get that second round in, because that's when you generally have yourself, you know, an okay kind of second half potentially coming up for you. If it's just one round, all you can really afford is just that one slip up. And it's never really a nice feeling to go with. A lot of BDS stacked up out here. Seems like they might be going for a quick initial push. They're already in the side.
I mean, yeah, quick initial push and inside the side, ready to break on through. EFAC with the swing round onto the player. They're going to try and drive the kid into a touch corner and watch it from all different angles. Spiff gets Renshiro, though, and they get 2 more! Spiff goes huge, saves potentially the round. It's just Alems left. J90 is able to find EFAC off on the swing. Alems looks for one on the back, gets it. And with Iconic and J90 left to try and fight their way through. I mean, it's a huge ask here. They've got not a huge amount of health. This isn't an easy gun to take multiple engagements with off the back. It's accurate, but for only the 25 bullets you're offered. And that is Spiff's round.
That is Spiff's round. I was just going to say, like, they open up, they're inside 10 seconds in the round, and they already have side control on the first kill. And literally, as I wrote down the dot for the entry kill, it was a 3v2 in favor of Astralis at that point. So that's how quick it can go. Well done by Spiff. The rest of Astralis would just hold on there. And to find themselves that second round, that's that buffer we have been talking about. And now we're headed towards the lockers because, well, they don't really have the other choice of open area, considering they just won that. It's been locked now, and it will be locked up until OT. But they can be happy with how that round played out, because the amount of pace BDS brought and they took the site with, that could have been a recipe for success. It should have been. Let's put it up like that if it wasn't for Spiff.
I mean, that's it. That's what I entirely mean. Obviously, Astralis reacting and pulling themselves back around and getting that back in, but the triple kill, including the planner through the soft, in the middle of the site, it's like you're surrounded. And it's like, you know, what's that Darth Vader quote? All I see around me are dead fools.
I've watched Star Wars, don't worry, but
it's
I don't
not from the film.
Okay, then I don't know.
It's not from a film. I mean,
say don't start this one, because I have seen every single film.
3-2. Astralis, they're able to pull that one back. Can they get themselves to even half here before the turn of the half itself? If I said we weren't quite back down. Side before, and well, I guess open was a sort of blink and you missed it, but technically still a 100% success rate on it.
Yeah, I mean, and they won it twice. Nothing else we can say about that. Almost the second time the plan went down though, but that one was quickly denied. Shaiko with a Gemini replicator trying to gain some information there, maybe bait out some plays. Bit of
that's unfortunate.
I don't know what to say about that.
I mean,
okay, suppressors, so fair enough. You don't actually get to see the tracers, so just walk through and die. You didn't even see what was happening there.
You win some, you lose some. That's like the karmic cost balance of...
Yeah. It's like you save a round, but you have to give up your next.
Yeah. Either way, it's a boon, because how many times have we been on this site? How many times has it gone away from Astralis? Oh, both.
Yeah.
How many times had Astralis gotten the opening kill? Both, actually. So BDS, worryingly for Astralis, they're in a better position than they've been at this point. Both times they've attacked the site, they have a man advantage, and I wonder how Astralis are going to react, because maybe that might be a changing factor. They might see if they can be a little bit more dashing and daring and lean back against it. The breach on the hatch comes through.
They still have 3 C4s available to them.
They do?
They did last time as well, but those were shut out before they could actually explode. That's a big change we need to see for this round onwards. Ranchero is going to be on flank watch here. There's also a drone that is on standby. It seems like BDS is going to go for a bit of a split push. There is some rotation going around towards the garage, I believe. First player out there, C4 will be tossed out by J9. Shouldn't be finding anybody. No, he's actually not going to throw it. He's keeping it in pocket for now. And this way, Astralis is really spread out because everything is opened up. Like, where do you want to go for?
Warden, happy to play this game. The C4 a little bit premature, but it's hard to call and build behind when it's just sounds of echoes of blind. Shaiko suffers a bit. Efac's fully not confident, and fair enough. He knows he's being watched. They need pressure elsewhere, but 30 seconds. They need it now. They take the drop. Iconic with the rotate as somebody else drops inside the site. It's a technical 5 versus 3 right now with guns up and pointing towards it. Garage has dropped. They're looking for the confirmation, and Lems wins out, and Bride wins out, and Iconic is all that's left. Cannot find it. And BDS get themselves the 4-2 half, ending on a flawless.
Again, winning lockers here, and you know, the last 2 times they went for a very similar take. They open up, they go for a plan after they bait out the utility, and this time they were like, let's not try that for a 3rd time, because surely they have managed to find a way to stop that.
Yeah.
And now they went for that approach from every single side. But that's what you can do when you have that man advantage. You were talking about it. It's like they're in a better position right now than they were before. So what do? They open up all the hatches, and no longer all 3 of those operators can be focused at just the default plant, because they can be dropping from all these hatches at the same point now. And that's when you're facing multiple 1v1s, and that's when it just falls apart really quickly on an execute.
I mean, at this point, it's just the fight ahead. It's a game of 2 halves, and I want to see what Astralis can bring on their attack here against BDS's defense. As I said, there's good room, but we saw some really good Astralis attacks even on the previous map. They were short, they were sharp, they were to the point in the punch, and that can take a team like BDS by a bit of surprise. They're playing with Echo, they've got the Goyo and the smoke to try and buy time, but if you circumvent that with a bit of pace, then suddenly you might be in a different story. The Candelas are in pocket. They have the idea of pressure potentially on the back end, and there's no fancy spectacles to stop it.
No, this is more of a bit of a hands-off approach, though, that BDS is going for, right? Like, this basically everything this tells me is you can get inside, that's fine. Which is, first pop 1 fire canister, then we toss the C4, and then we, get the yokais in the way. As you just mentioned, like, they're not going to be taking those fights early on in the round. They are here to, well, make sure that if they do, almost inevitably take control of the server room, have the opportunities to deal with the players.
Astralis starting across open, getting themselves a pretty standard approach. There's nothing loose from BDS to be caught at this moment in time, so Astralis is happy to get to work. Within the opening minute, 2 core hatches open, pressure down green, and angling themselves to anyone that might rotate up as Shaiko the Pulse goes and goes! Shuttle is out of the round. And one of the top-rated players of the tournament, Shaiko, is making sure he shows up when he needs to.
He knows about Spiff right now onto the main stairs as well. 2 guns currently aimed in that direction. He's not going to be freely allowed to move downstairs. Currently no C4 to be tossed up that way. BDS a bit afraid of potential hatches to be used here, so they're quickly checking which have been opened up and which haven't been. 90 seconds. Drones coming through. Shaiko has been spotted out. Swaps over to his UMP. Grenade coming through as well. He needs to be moving out of that position.
Yep, and the fire canister will sort of double down on that idea. It buys them some time. The smokes come through. There's a bit of a blind on the back end. Alems, the first camera gets caught, and he almost does as well. Forrest, he's suffering damage inside the plant, but he's able to make sure he sticks. Actually, not enough to stop him. I thought he was caught in the smoke, but they just drifted on by. J90 watching from above, and that was a perfect pinned execute from Astralis. What's the retake here, BDS? The first is another kill there for Shaiko. J9O gets Renjiro. He drops in the site because he knows they're coming up for him, so he's able to get a kill, buried down. There's one more! J9O is tearing the vault up right now and brings it back to a 2 versus 2. Waits for the swing. Efak finds one. This could be all his round. He tucks in. There's barely any time. Bride kills Efak in the fire. And there is J9O!
Holy shit, Jack! You are fucking nasty! Jack, you are nasty! Holy shit!
Dap me up, Jack. Dap me the fuck up after that shit, bro. That was some wicked shit right there. That was some wicked shit, bro. That's like the musical type shit, bro. That was the musical, bro. Oh my god.
That was the musical. J9O the musical coming out soon.
Where's the photoshopped poster?
Yeah, we need a Photoshop poster right now for J9O the musical.
Henry. The cube. Red cube.
Bring out the poster, do it. 15 minutes is what you give.
I mean,
what a clutch it was, though.
Hell of a round. There's no two ways about it.
He dropped. He knew that they were coming from him. On top, you said it. He somehow gets 3 people in the matter of like 2 or 3 seconds. The remaining amount of fire still takes down Likafak. If that wouldn't have happened, you know, again, I don't know what was going to happen, but it could have been a 2-on-1 fight at that point because Shaiko was chasing him down through the offices, through CCTV. Oh, just a bit too hasty there. But that brings it back to 4-3. Keeps us a little bit closer on the scoreline.
The execute was very well put together there. And although it was obviously a huge clutch round, you always have to include that as part of the story. He wouldn't have been able to have himself with the pressure if the kid hadn't been landed, the movement of the rest of Astralis there. However, with that noted, 2 of the 3 rounds that Astralis have got so far in this game have been off of huge plays from individual players. In my book, Spiff onto 1 to allow the team to move back in on the retake. And there we go, J9O off the second. Hopefully they build behind it. Iconic. He's being led on through. He's so close. Oh, and he's able to win it out. Shaiko just a step out of pace there. And Efak, he's holding on a bit on the hatch. He's dabbling. They've got more bullets in their gun, and he's aware of it. Alems does find Shuttle there inside underneath, and they're dropped out as well. Alems with a very important double stops them at the pass, and they're not going to throw anyone else into the French meat grinder at the bottom of the stairs.
Not quite sure what happened there. Probably they got that first entry. They knew someone else was up on the top floor, so they just decided to give it a go. Just go for it. Just make that push happen. But of course, LM's playing on that pulse, knew exactly that he was coming, able to reply to him. And that means that Spiff right now is also known. They know where he's going to be coming from. They know what is currently being watched as these heartbeats are being spotted out by LM's. Also aware of the fact that the main stairs for now is going to be clear. BDS have the opportunity to relax slightly for this round for now, because there's 80 seconds left. Astralis, well, they're burning through the fire for now, but at some point they need to get that diffuser down on the ground. Forest Walls running past, took a lot of damage there. Flashbangs are coming through, will be blinding. LM's right there, but the player went up the stairs. It's Likafak going up for a flank. He gets one before he gets shut down.
He went for the bold aggression there, and it puts them in the 3 versus 2. He was at least able to get one out. It's that bit of a risk, hoping to get them before they went for the blinds in the plant, throw a spanner in the works, and it worked. Forest doesn't have a huge amount of health, and Spiff doesn't have a huge amount of utility left, but they are someone who can just repeat it. Caught out. The hatch is being watched, so instead they've got to go for a slightly different approach. Hey, that was red. There inside the elevator vault, there's the pings, there's the other. They know where both of them are, and there's only 40 seconds. There's no way out of this hatch. They have to try and push this way at this point. So you can hold off at least one of them. The other, I mean, unless they can do the biggest play, they're going to see if they can rotate slightly. Not very far. BDS, they bounce back.
The lock-off lockers on their second attempt.
Ils ont tué Sheko, la note, elle a trop tué ça avec son
Ils ont trollé leur run.
Talk about drops.
On fait la CEO avec Mira. On fait la CEO avec Mira, les gars.
Mira, yeah. Mira, exclamation mark drops. Is that what they're saying?
Vas-y.
I would be close surprised.
I would be surprised as well. CEO coming through, top floor. Also something we haven't seen yet this game. Definitely see some spray-throughs on this area, but not the actual bomb sites to be located here. And now the castle is being brought out. Is of course to reinforce and put up some new architecture for the office. Whilst some walls are being redesigned by Ventura right now. It's going to be closing of another door. Maybe he's trying to make it more feng shui. Is that how you say it? I think it is, right? What? Feng shui? You don't know?
Yeah, feng shui.
Yeah. I was gonna say you don't know what that is.
Well, no, you didn't say it wrong, and
you just didn't hear it right.
Yeah,
it's okay. Anyway, as we push up to CEO, there's a big change coming in for the operators. It's mostly just reassignments, same operators, but different people carrying them. It's most likely due to how confident some people feel on attacking this site. On-set operators swapping around based on those roles. The thing is, you need to be quite afraid of any potential jump outs to come from this site. It often happens, and so BDS set up quite a lot of claymores. Didn't see any of that as of yet. There's 2 on the board for J90. But for now, it's only up to Iconic that's out here, so he's quite vulnerable, actually.
I mean, it's a window set that you cannot sit around on too much. It's an all-or-nothing send. That's always how it's sort of gone. Ooh, there's a catch onto that, and we have the grenades to get the pinch. That should get popped open. You can try and get the EMP around. Just there, tucked in, perfectly demonstrated. The second will get the catch as well. The breach should get popped open if they've thrown the second claw high enough. Maybe it'll reactivate.
Now it got broken by the first Selma, I believe. Oh, both are gone. That's unfortunate. So now stuck there in the elevators. Likafak almost lost his life there, but somehow escapes with it as Solace. Iconic already in the teller's office. He's going to be trying to hold on. Likafak is going to be aware of where he actually is, actually sees his drone and the phone is being controlled from, so he's going to be like, can I potentially sneak around this? Gives it a little bit of a spot as well for the remainder of his team. They might be able to go for some help as Iconic takes a lot of damage. They definitely came in for some help.
That's it. You can see Forrest takes a big scrap and scrape as well. BDS, they're trying to circle back in, but there's Astralis on the back, and that shuttle pops in, gets 2, gets locked down, but J90's there to help punctuate it, and Brede is still working with the Vector until Spiff shows up. EFAC, he cannot get the connection. He's concerned about the pressure coming either side. 2 quick guns and a grenade forcing him back up the stairs. No retreat, no surrender.
Let's go. Nice call, boys. Fucking beast. Shit. That was the wrong fucking window, bro. No, I thought that's what you wanted to do. I was gonna fucking repel that. I meant third, bro. I'm going straight to archives, bro. I'm going straight to archives. Dude, that shit was heinous. I'm going straight to archives, bro. Dude, this guy repelled into lower square, like, the window above that shit. I was like, bro, what's going on?
Just the confusion. Apparently not everything went according to plan.
I mean, it's so reassuring when, you have even people playing at the highest level at the biggest tournament be like, yo,
this is not what we called,
but it worked.
But it worked out, it makes me feel better about my ranked games when I didn't quite follow the push that was called. Sorry. As they were still successful, of course, that is a big part to, as you heard it, Shuttle, just walking in, getting that double kill, truly opening up the side and providing opportunity to the rest of Astralis to take the space and to take that successfully. We head towards the open area next, as the lockers is still closed down. BDS cannot go back down yet, so they are here chasing for a map point situation and a match point situation on the different side. Now, Brede is going to be closing up that double door. They're not going to have what they did themselves against Astralis. However, this Exploding Boy should be making quick work of that.
Yeah, it's a very easy wall to get popped open.
Or not.
Or not. Okay.
Maybe jumped a bit too early or pressed
slightly faulty
trigger a bit too early.
Okay, I mean, the thing is, you'll often see teams break it just from breaking open the soft wall on the side as well. It gives you that little bit of extra width, but as they're trying to batten down the hatches, Astralis is applying the pressure on the top floor and trying to drown the site a bit. And on the opposite end of the windows as well, they're watching the rotate. A very important one to watch, swinging up blue behind the side of this soft. They want to make sure that they can push their way across without the pressure coming from the middle. The throw of the EMPs, the break onto the wall. There's only so many places Brede can stand, and Well, where he's going is elsewhere, but Alems with a swing stops them being rotate. Shuttle stops Shaiko after he gets the opener onto Forest because he's inside the back end of sight, but Brede somehow wins it out once more. Pulls the head off of J90 and Spiff inside. Gets the down, gets dropped. Brede doing huge work, leaving just Iconic in the 3 versus 1 with Alems still down. Probably won't get picked up, but actually he's crawling closer to safety.
So please pay attention to me.
It's like, a risk.
I want to help. Yeah, of course it's a risk, and I don't think they're going to go for it. He might just be a living drone at this point.
I mean, it can turn a 2 versus... It can turn into a 2 versus 1.
Yeah, that's it. If Leak Effect goes for it, you suddenly lose the entirety of the north side if they actually do... Okay, they're going for it.
But there's Iconic. Takes the drop at the same time, waited for the call, goes it. It's 3, 2, 1, go. Brede's tucked himself on the back end. There's a bit of a spray. There's Efak, though. We are sitting on series point.
Series point, and we're headed down back towards the basement, I dare to say. We can't see it yet, but Brede. What a round that was from him. Just, you know, they opened up the wall and he's like, well, I cannot really go back. So I'll just do it from here. Quickly listen in.
Yeah, take the floors and rip it up and start to let him rubber. When you guys are around that, please check shot. And they like to make sure you guys are doing all the good stuff. For that outside pressure check, I'll be advised for this as well. So you know, form the pressure inside for the what's going to happen around the area, open around the anchor right here, I'll match up well, got some pressure. Read right here too. Pressure on the server side. Make sure to probably should take the game with the hardware track.
Very calm.
Yeah, very calm. There's
very
not really the hype, you know, that we get from European teams a lot.
Well, I mean, it's you know, different
more strategical.
Coaches, different coaches, different coaching styles. There's more than one way to cook an egg.
No, I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying this is more strategical. Like, pick this for the Goyos, pick this, do this, maybe open up these hatches, rather than let's go, boys, we can kill them, we are better than them.
The thing that matters the most, and the metric at weighing up those sort of moments, is what happens after.
That's it. Do you find success after the tactical timeout? Yes, it was successful.
That's the number. That's the sort of graph. That's the chart of whose words have been able to get themselves some sweet success after they've had the conversations. It is an important part of it. It's an important sort of drive. To be fair, throughout the series, both times the two teams have done it, or, well, the one time each team has done it, neither has found success immediately afterwards. So in this series, it would be the break from the mold for both teams if Astralis can pull this back.
Different lineup from BDS as well. We see the Maestro instead of the Echo for this basement site. It's quick entry here from Shuttle to find himself in open area. Of course, those hatches are crucial to take under control. But I don't think anybody's currently watching his drone, so there might have just been Leak Effect rotating up slightly without Shuttle fully being aware. And as he starts opening up, the call's coming through. Leak Effect is going on a bit of a hunt right here as well. He's hoping to find that kill and the early entry.
Oh, do they know? They know! Shuttle watching and waiting and had the cover ready to go. It was a big risk there for Efak. He wanted to sort of step in and break the mold on the back of it, but that allows them one extra body, Forest, inside the site, picking the players. They can utilize those canisters and they'll start to get those popped off. Hold them at bay. Stop the movement, come behind it because they know what Astralis can do. And that's often pace. There's still pings. There's still reads Shaiko on the pulse on the far end, hoping to get another catch, but it's Spiff that gets the next. Renshiro caught out the pulse, trying to fight the way up towards the blinds, but there it is, the engagement, the C4, it's caught out in Forest. They're getting that kit locked down, more blinds, post-blanc. Forest takes a little bit of damage going out the door, but the shield still stands. And a 5 versus 3 with a shield and with the fire buying now Astralis time. That is the longest 15 seconds you'll ever look at in this game.
And they're aware of the fact that someone is still above. Someone coming down from the main stairs as well. J90 looking to clean up. Gets one. Instantly falls back. Swapping over to the Type 89 before he shuts down a second. Leaves it only up to a Lambs. But it's a flawless round coming down from Astralis right after the technical timeout. You mentioned it. To break that mold. Now they only need one more to push us through overtime. It's a do or die round. Again, upper bracket is at stake for this game. Whoever wins is going to be in that upper bracket, gets the extra life. Whoever loses is going down to the lower bracket.
It broke the mold, as you said, as I kind of had my eye on. They needed to take it, and they couldn't have done it any better. And to be fair, from what was the heroics of their first time down there to things falling apart on the second, that was clean and steady and everything going to plan. BDS. One round separates you from locking this out here, heading up to CEO.
Yeah.
Gonna double it down, not gonna try and run it away. And, well, when we were here before, it was a pretty good Astralis win.
Yeah, it was a win for Astralis, but maybe BDS have, they figured out, like, okay, this is exactly what went wrong. If we change that.
I mean, it left us with a 3 versus 1, and EFAC's stuck on white stairs.
Yes, but wasn't it also like someone just, jumping in from the main stairs, getting that double kill, and then basically ripping apart the entire defense of BDS? So,
it works.
That's kind of the thing. If they can prevent that from happening, it would be more of a deadlock right now.
Well, that's them to see if they can try and drive it. BDS, can you hold off one more time? Astralis will start the approach over from the big open lobby space. A little bit more softening has been done as the approach comes towards Kanto. It was popped open last time. It's an important step. And the Lems, they were playing the Kaid and couldn't quite get the full catch. This time the Bandit. The difference? The pace. Against those Hibana pellets, if you can play against it, you should be able to get that broken down. That one is a missed throw. Just misses the radius. And that'll get electrified. And
no.
That's a cat.
It's 2 gone. Yeah. One more Selma left. Kanto's still not opened up.
No. And they only have 2 of those EMP grenades left, so there's multiple ways to get this open, and one of them is including getting underneath, potentially lobbing a bit of damage and destruction, the flashes or some stuns over the top. J90 had an idea. Shaiko has one of his own. Swings on the top of stock and takes care of Spiff.
That's when it starts getting dangerous, because now it's a 5v4 BDS with a man advantage. Seems like there's some pressure coming down from stock, also from the top of square, but they'll just lean back in and Impact used to get rid of the X-Kairos. That's the second kill to come through. Shaiko takes one more, and that means it's a 2-on-5 situation now. BDS on series point with 2 more to find.
There is the 4th for Shaiko. Only 1 left, and a Shaiko ace on the end of a flawless round to lock it out. We said at the start he was the top-rated player of the whole tournament coming into this engagement, and he sort of proved why at the end there. An ace, so close for Astralis, but unfortunately, the boys aren't reaching the stars just yet.
I mean, how else to lock it off with that Shaiko ace? This is the reason, what you just saw there, why he has positions, areas named after him, because he likes being in a rough situation where he's being shot at from multiple different directions, just so he can play like that, take them down one by one. But it was a very close fight, we have to say. 7-5 victory on map 2, but Oregon very rough for BDS. It is a map they will be struggling with as they continue throughout the tournament. They do need to quickly get some extra experience in that.
Yeah, it's just sort of blind spot. It's a mark that is frequently on their record. I think you only need to look at BDS fans to know that when it comes with oh, we're going back to Oregon, you expect it goes that way. However, thankfully for them, they have enough on the other maps, and thankfully for them, they have a Shaiko.
I believe that is going to be the 3rd seed confirmed for BDS. That means they can be chosen by any of the 2nd seed teams from the remaining groups. But most importantly, they have that extra life that Astralis now will not have, as they come in at the 4th seed here in their group. So With that said, that's this group all taken care of as well. BDS victorious in the end.
We'll throw it to a quick break before we're back with the desk to break it down.